As school leaders, I'm sure that you all understand we are responsible for the overall development of the students, and it is not just limited to the curriculum knowledge that is imparted in the schools, but also the personality development plays a crucial role in bringing out the bestest in the child's personality and builds them for a better tomorrow, making them employable for the tomorrow's time also. With this objective in mind, I once again would like to thank all of you for taking out your precious time and joining us to this Lucknow edition of Times of India Principal Conclave. We are honored to have with us our special guest for the day, Shri V.K. Pandey, Additional Project Director, Department of Secondary Education, Government of Pradesh, and we would like to felicitate him, for which may I request Lieutenant C.A. Sanjeev Kaura, CEO Teach India, Ms. Latika Sharma, Assistant Vice President Times of India, and Mr. Subramanian from HCL Tech to kindly felicitate our special guest for the day. Can you please bring the plant forward? बहुत ही गर्व और सम्मान की बात है कि हमारे समक्ष आज वी.के. पांडे जी यहाँ पर मौजूद हैं. उनका स्वागत और हार्दिक अभिनंदन हमने अभी किया. Thank you so much, everybody. And now, ladies and gentlemen, to commence with the day's proceedings, allow me to invite upon stage Mr. Vikas Bhardwaj, General Manager, Times of India, to deliver the introductory remarks. Mr. Vikas Bhardwaj.
Thank you, Shelly. A very good morning to all of you. Can I hear a good morning? This is what you've been doing to us. Yeah, good morning to all of you. Hope you're all settled. Okay, good. At the Times of India, as you all know, we report and bring to the fore a multitude of citywide, statewide, and countrywide subjects which are of interest and relevance. Going beyond getting you authentic news every day, we also create various platforms for discussion, deliberation with key stakeholders, leaders, and various sections of the society. Therefore, we also take pride in being the best in class and therefore a most trusted brand and the most trusted newspaper in the country. Principal Conclave is one such initiative which we started in the year 2010. Today we have amongst us experts and leaders who shall deliberate on the theme Next Gen Careers, with a background that we have the largest part of our population in the age group of 0 to 18 years, and we need to make them future ready. To kickstart today's session, I take this opportunity to introduce to you a rare combination. You know, he's a person who is a CA, he's an army man, he's an Harvard alumnus, and he's the CEO of our flagship program of CSR, Teach India. Captain Sanjeev Kaura. May I please call upon Captain Sanjeev Kaura to do the introductory remarks, please.
Thank you very much. Namaskar. Good morning once again, all of you. So, I want you to hear. मैं वहाँ पीछे आऊँगा इसलिए मैं मंच पे नहीं रहूँगा. So, good morning, नमस्कार आप सबको मैं पहले प्रणाम करता हूँ क्योंकि आपके जैसे अध्यापक, प्रिंसिपल्स हैं. आप लोग ने जो तालीम दी, शिक्षा दी, जिसके कारण मैं यहाँ आपके सामने आपको संबोधित कर रहा हूँ. तो शुरू करने से पहले आप सबको मैं प्रणाम करता हूँ. मेरा प्रणाम स्वीकार करिए. I think we are here on a very important point, which I want to start off with the movie Three Idiots. How many have seen Three Idiots? Sorry, everyone. I'm sorry, what a stupid question, but that's fine. Well, we will not talk about Three Idiots then. So, Three Idiots का main topic क्या था? Everybody.
Well, the children should be allowed to choose for themselves and we should respect their choices.
Thank you. जो शाहरुख खान ने कहा था कि follow your heart. So, आज हम उसकी बात नहीं करेंगे. But there were two things that are beyond that. And maybe if you see a sequel of Three Idiots, you'll remember this spiel of mine. And those two things are, you have to be the world's best in what you do, and it has to make money. अगले 3-4 मिनट में मैं इन दो मुद्दों पे बातें करूंगा. How can you be the world's best? If you ask Malcolm Gladwell, the best-selling author of Outlier and Blink, his answer, 10,000 hours. हमारी simple भाषा में मेहनत, परिश्रम, everything, everyone, our parents told us, you tell your teachers and teachers tell them, कितनी मेहनत? गजनी जैसी आमिर खान वाली शाम के 5 बजे तक ट्रेनर रो पड़ता था कि सर इतनी मेहनत क्यों कर रहे हो, बॉडी पे इतने कोड़े क्यों मार रहे हो? नहीं, अपन को 8 पैक मांगता, 6 पैक मांगता. So it's nice to watch the movie Gajni, but you have to work hard, 10,000 hours if you believe Gladwell. So that is certainly that is very, very important, and we know, and we have been hearing, and we've been telling that. But along with that is also comes the second point that I mentioned, and which is to make money. कई बार ना पैसे की बातें अच्छी नहीं लगती हैं, बिकॉज सारे कहते हैं नहीं जितना मिला उतना संपन्न रहो, लेकिन दुनिया बदल गई है. कौन कहता है? 2 व्यक्ति मैं बोलूँगा जो काफ़ी इंपॉर्टेंट हैं भारत में, वो 2 कहते हैं, एंड एक विदेशी, स्टैनफोर्ड के जिम कॉलिंस, द ऑथर ऑफ गुड टू ग्रेट, has a framework on the sweet spot of the 3 Venn diagrams. अगर मन में आप बनाएं, follow your heart, world best at what you do, and make money. That's Jim Collins. But there are 2 more people, including one. जब मैं पढ़ रहा था कल उनका बयान, तो मुझे लगा as if she's talking about this. So first, the first person who also is bringing in this is our Prime Minister when he started the skilling ministry. भारत की आज़ादी के बाद पहली बार skilling ministry बनी. Because skill means you are productive and it generates income. Because sometimes we hear that sometimes of kids, and sometimes we are unfair to them, but sometimes they say because they want to escape hard work. नहीं मम्मी मुझे painting अच्छी लगती है, नहीं मुझे sketching, नहीं horse riding. And they keep on changing as a hobby. नहीं, जो मर्जी करना है करो, लेकिन हार्ड वर्क करो, 10,000 hours, फोकस करो. आप लोग हाँ में हाँ मिला रहे हो. Don't use it to escape hard work. And the second lady, equally important, is Nirmala Sitharaman. आप लोग ने शायद उनका बयान कल पढ़ा होगा, exhorting कि कैसे we should do in skills, including STEM की भी बात अभी करेंगे. So it is just not Jim Collins, but it is also our own society that has changed along with the government as well as others, that look, if we want to do something, skill is also important. हुआ क्या है कि हमारे टाइम से शिक्षा वाला ट्रैक जो चल रहा था, BA, MA, PhD, टीचर बनेंगे, बैंक PO, IAS, सिविल सर्विस, कॉर्पोरेट, वो सब कायम है और चलता रहेगा. लेकिन उसके साथ साथ एक और ट्रैक आया है. कौन सा? स्किल वाला. कि अगर हमें नहीं मन करता है MA करना, PhD करना, इवन ग्रेजुएशन जरूरी नहीं है कि एकदम फुल टाइम करें, 12वीं के बाद भी अगर इफ आई वांट टू बी प्रोडक्टिव, इज देयर एनी हार्म? All these 3 individuals that I mentioned, Jim Collins, Narendra Modi, Nirmala Sitharaman, all of them and many more, our society exhorting that yes, skill is a good thing. तो वो वाला एक एडिशनल ट्रैक भी आ गया है. और आने वाले घंटों में, टिल लंच, आने वाले घंटों पे इस पे हम चर्चा करेंगे कि how we can do it, because the world has changed and the world around us in our homes, the values, the aspirations, the hopes of the next generation is different. They fall in love. That's not the topic today. They have many other aspirations that are different than our generation. There are many who are smiling. I know I'm talking about your home, my home, everyone's home. Thank you for the smiles. But important is they want to be स्वावलंबी. एक 18 साल की बच्ची कहती है कि नहीं, मैं अगर कोडिंग करूंगी और मैं पैसा कमाना चाहती हूं, तो क्राइम तो नहीं है? थैंक यू, बिल्कुल नहीं है. एंड इन दोज स्किल में, like today, if we talk about STEM, There are so many options that come, and we are the world leader, by the way, the IT capital of the world. So if our children also participate in that, there is absolutely no harm in that. There are so many experts today, as my colleague Vikas Bhardwaj mentioned. But I would like to mention that it is just not, I'm talking, but you just don't have to listen to me. I'll be ending in a minute or so. But there are many others also who are here and whom I will encourage you to interact with. So, for example, in the जो हमारे सरकार के आए हैं, VK Pandey ji, whom I'll be introducing just now, as well as from the corporates who are here, from HCL, my colleagues, the Times of India, my colleagues, as well as others who are here. I would like that if there is an interaction, even off the sessions, including during lunch, that it will give us a lot of clarity. It will give us a lot of clarity that what we want to do, how we can do the skilling space in the STEM space, so that the kid, when the kid tells us that this is my passion, तो उनको हम बोले हाँ हार्डवर्क करो और ये स्किलिंग करो और अपना जीवन अगर आप बनाओ एक स्वावलंबी मैनर में, तो इसमें क्या प्रॉब्लम है? I think I hope I have done a reasonably good job of setting the context. I don't want to bore you early in the morning, but I would now like to invite Mr. VK Pandey, whom we know is a very accomplished leader in the government. There are many winds of change that are happening in the education space. For example, NCERT books coming into schools of Uttar Pradesh. First time since independence it is happening. He's in the middle of it. That, as well as many other, including skill-based initiatives, I would like him to educate us in his address. And with that, I would like to invite Shri VK Pandey ji as I end my opening remarks. Thank you very much. एक बार फिर आप सबको धन्यवाद. Nice.
सभी को नमस्ते. आज के इस कॉन्क्लेव के आयोजक टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया के साथी, मेनी नोन फेसेस, साथी प्रधानाचार्य, प्रधानाध्यापकगण. हिंदी ठीक रहेगी? मेरे लिए ठीक रहेगी, आप जानो अपना. नहीं, अंग्रेजी मेरी ठीक है, बस ठीक ही ठीक है. बोल लेता हूँ, पढ़ लेता हूँ, समझ लेता हूँ, लेकिन मज़ा नहीं आता. मज़ा हिंदी में आता है. इसलिए वो काम करना चाहिए जो हिंदी, जिसमें मज़ा आता है. हमारा काम शिक्षा विभाग में इम्तिहान लेना है, लेकिन पिछले 2 साल में हम सभी का बहुत तगड़ा इम्तिहान लिया गया. और अच्छी बात यह है कि हम सब उसमें बड़े अच्छे नंबरों से पास हुए हैं, इसलिए ताली बजा लीजिए. हमारे सभी प्रिंसिपल्स जितने एजुकेशन सिस्टम से जुड़े हुए हैं, चाहे वो प्राइवेट इंस्टीट्यूशंस में थे, चाहे गवर्नमेंट इंस्टीट्यूशंस में थे, सभी टीचर्स, और उनके सामने ये चैलेंज था कि कैसे इस कठिन समय में हम अपने बच्चों को पढ़ाएं. और इस चैलेंज के लिए न सिर्फ हमने अपने सारे बैरियर्स तोड़े, बहुत सारे लोग ऐसे थे जिन्होंने स्मार्टफोन पहली बार चलाना सीखा था, और ये सारे बैरियर तोड़ करके और फिर बच्चों को पढ़ाया. और बहुत मुश्किल काम था बच्चों के 2 साल बचाना, और हम लोग सफलतापूर्वक बचा ले गए हैं. और इसके लिए आप सभी बहुत बहुत बधाई के पात्र हैं. और इस कठिन समय ने हमको और भी जागरूक किया है, और भी जागृत किया है कि हम अपने आप को और वाइब्रेंट रखें टुवर्ड्स चेंजेस, अपने परिवर्तनों के लिए बहुत जागृत रखें अपने आप को. हम पिछले कई वर्षों में शिक्षा विभाग में बहुत सारे चेंजेस आ रहे हैं. मैं आंकड़ों से बोर नहीं करूंगा, लेकिन तब भी एक आंकड़ा आपको देता हूं कि हम हर साल लगभग 25 लाख बच्चे उत्तर प्रदेश में इंटरमीडिएट पास कराते हैं, इंक्लूडिंग ऑल बोर्ड्स. 25 लाख, इट्स ह्यूज नंबर. इस साल 45 लाख बच्चे कक्षा 1 में दाखिल हो रहे हैं, यानी 12 साल बाद
45 लाख बच्चे इंटरमीडिएट ग्रेजुएट्स होंगे। और एक आध और आंकड़े कि जो लगभग 800 के आसपास सरकारी आईटीआई हैं हमारे, लगभग 2000 टोटल मिला लें तो गवर्नमेंट और प्राइवेट मिलाकर के आईटीआईज हैं, जिनमें बहुत ज़्यादा एनरोलमेंट अगर हम कर ले तो 2 लाख एनरोल हो जाएंगे, 3 लाख एनरोल हो जाएंगे। और स्किलिंग की जितनी अपॉर्चुनिटी प्राइवेट गवर्नमेंट सब जोड़ लें तो मुश्किल से 5 लाख बच्चों की स्किलिंग का सिस्टम हमारे पास है। अगर हम जो काम कर रहे हैं वही करते रहे तो हम टुवर्ड्स डिजास्टर जा रहे हैं, बिल्कुल तय मानिए। तो हमें अपने आप को तैयार करना पड़ेगा, परिवर्तन लाना पड़ेगा अपने पूरे बिहेवियर में। एज ए स्कूल लीडर पूरे काम काज में अपना परिवर्तन लाना पड़ेगा। कर्नल साहब जो कह रहे थे ना कि दिल की सुनने की बात, जब बच्चा दिल की सुनेगा और उसके लिए आप अपॉर्चुनिटी नहीं देंगे स्कूल में, तो फिर बच्चा एक इंटर तो सब पास हो जाते हैं, हम भी पास हुए थे, पता नहीं क्या करना चाहते थे, पता नहीं क्या करने लगे। लेकिन बच्चा जो करना चाहता है, अगर उसको वो काम स्कूल, वो स्पेस स्कूल नहीं उपलब्ध करा पा रहा है, तो फिर और कोई अपॉर्चुनिटी बच्चे के सामने नहीं है। वो उसके पास 2 ही अपॉर्चुनिटी, या स्कूल है या घर है सीखने के लिए, और घर में बहुत कम अपॉर्चुनिटी हैं। वो स्कूल इसीलिए आता है कि उसे सीखने का मौका मिले, और अगर स्कूल भी वो मौका नहीं देगा तो फिर समाज में वो योगदान क्या कर पाएगा। हमने स्कूल में सिखाने का एक बहुत सिस्टमैटिक तरीका बना रखा है। कुछ स्कूल इसमें बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं, अपना सिस्टम बहुत बढ़िया बना रहे हैं और बहुत अच्छी मेरिट के साथ में उनके बच्चे निकल रहे हैं। हमारे भी कुछ स्कूलों में निकल जाते हैं, हम भी अखबारों में छपवाते हैं। हमारे 10 बच्चे स्टेट लेवल टॉप किए, हमारे 5 बच्चे आईआईटी में सिलेक्ट हुए, 10 बच्चे नीट क्लियर किए। क्या यही सफलता के मानक हैं? कितने बच्चे डॉक्टर बन जाएंगे, कितने बच्चे इंजीनियर बन जाएंगे, कितने आईएएस पीओ कितना निकाल लेंगे? 45 लाख की नंबर याद रखिएगा प्लीज। 50,000 बहुत ज्यादा मैं बता रहा हूं, 50,000 एक साल में। बाकी के लिए हम क्या तैयार कर रहे हैं? कौन सा एरिया हमने दिया हुआ है? अगर हम अपना सिस्टम इसके लिए नहीं तैयार करेंगे तो हम तो, जैसा मैंने निवेदन किया, कि यह डिजास्टर की तरफ जा रहे हैं। एक तो पूरे नेशनल प्लेटफॉर्म पर, ग्लोबल प्लेटफॉर्म पर हमारा बच्चा जान सके, उसको वो सारी अपॉर्चुनिटीज अवेलेबल हों। वो एक लेवल पर, चाहे वो तमिलनाडु में पढ़ने वाला बच्चा हो, चाहे उत्तर प्रदेश के देवरिया में पढ़ने वाला बच्चा हो, अगर वो एक लेवल पर उसकी अपॉर्चुनिटी नहीं है तब हम उसके साथ अन्याय कर रहे हैं। इसलिए जैसा कर्नल साहब से डिस्कशन में बात हो रही थी कि हमने एनसीईआरटी के करिकुलम को अडॉप्ट किया और फॉर क्लास 10 एंड 12 हम पिछले 2018 से एनसीईआरटी का करिकुलम अडॉप्ट करके और चला रहे हैं, और बहुत जल्दी हम एलिमेंट्री लेवल पर भी शुरू करने जा रहे हैं। ऐसा नहीं है कि हमारा करिकुलम कोई ख़राब था, उसमें भी बहुत दिमाग लग करके वो तैयार हुआ, पूरी टीम लगती है और बहुत अच्छा करिकुलम था। लेकिन हम एक ही प्लेटफॉर्म पर सभी बच्चों को लाना चाहते हैं, इसलिए यह ज़रूरी है कि एक जैसा करिकुलम पूरे उत्तर प्रदेश के बच्चे बाकी देश के बच्चों के साथ compete कर सकें। इसके लिए बहुत ज़रूरी है कि उनको वही करिकुलम उपलब्ध कराया जाए। हम जब स्कूल, मैं एक सरकारी प्राइमरी स्कूल का पढ़ा हुआ हूँ, फिर सरकारी इंटर कॉलेज में पढ़ने गया, तो जब हम गांव में अपने स्कूल तक जाते थे तो रास्ते में एक कुम्हार का घर पड़ता था, और मुझे स्कूल में अक्सर दिवाली के आसपास स्कूल पहुंचने में देर हो जाया करती थी। बिल्कुल साधारण सी बात है, वो दिए बनाता था, मुझे दिए देखना बहुत अच्छा लगता था, मैं खड़े होकर दिए देखने लगता था। हर बच्चे को इस तरीके की एक्टिविटीज देखने में बहुत अच्छा लगता है। हर गांव में इस तरीके की एक्टिविटीज होती दिखती हैं। स्कूल एक अलग दुकान चला रहा, अलग जगह पे काम कर रहा है, कुम्हार का चाक अलग चल रहा है, और हम दोनों को एक साथ कभी नहीं लाते। एक उदाहरण है, ऐसे सैकड़ों उदाहरण हैं जिनमें गांव में विलेज स्तर पर बहुत सारे स्किल्स अवेलेबल हैं। हम उनको बिना किसी कॉस्ट के सिर्फ एक सम्मान देने की जरूरत है। कुम्हार को यह सम्मान कि आज तुम बच्चों को दिए बनाना सिखाओगे और स्कूल तक ले आएं, और ये सम्मान दें। कम्युनिटी को स्कूल से जोड़ें, या उल्टा हम एज ए स्कूल कुम्हार के घर तक जाएं और आज हम दिए बनाना सीखेंगे और वहां पर दिए बनाना सिखाएं बच्चों को। कोई जरूरी नहीं कि आप जो प्राइमरी स्कूल में पढ़ने वाले बच्चे हैं, जितने बच्चे हैं उनमें एक भी दिया बनाना सीख करके दिए को एज ए बिजनेस अडॉप्ट करे, अपनी स्किलिंग उसमें करे, कोई जरूरी नहीं है। लेकिन उससे इन स्किल्स के लिए जो उसको पसंद है, उन स्किल्स के लिए इंट्रोड्यूस करना हमारी जिम्मेदारी है, हर स्किल को। और इसके लिए हम सिस्टम की तरफ देखें पूरा, कि एक स्किलिंग टीचर हो, एक कुम्हार को एम्प्लॉय किया जाए और उसमें स्कूल में वो उसकी नौकरी हो और वो रोज में हफ्ते में 4 क्लासेस ले। यह इस माइंडसेट से हमें बाहर निकलना होगा। पहली बार हम लोगों ने स्किलिंग को इंटरमीडिएट लेवल पर इंट्रोड्यूस किया है। हमारा गवर्नमेंट में एक काम करने का तरीका है, सबके डिपार्टमेंट है, स्किलिंग एक अलग डिपार्टमेंट है, स्किल इंडिया मिशन काम कर रहा है उसमें। एक यहाँ पर अलीगंज में उसका दफ्तर है, बड़ा अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं, लोगों को आइडेंटिफाई करते हैं। फिर एक स्किलिंग के लिए ट्रेनिंग पार्टनर है, वो उनको ट्रेनिंग करता है, वो सर्टिफिकेट देते हैं। हम एक अलग काम कर रहे हैं, हम बच्चों को इंटरमीडिएट पास कराते हैं। हमने पहली बार ये बैरियर तोड़ा है, स्किल मिशन के लोगों को अपने स्कूल में एंटर कराया है। 150 गवर्नमेंट स्कूल्स में, हर स्कूल में स्किल ट्रेनिंग पार्टनर्स को इंट्रोड्यूस किया कि पढ़ाई के साथ साथ ऐसे बच्चे जो स्किलिंग करना चाहते हैं उनको एनरोल करके सर्टिफिकेशन का काम स्किल इंडिया मिशन के थ्रू हम स्कूल कैंपस में दिलाएंगे। हमारा स्कूल कैंपस लिमिटेड आवर्स के लिए यूज होता है, बहुत बड़ा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर हमारे पास है, क्लासरूम्स हैं, प्लेग्राउंड्स हैं, लाइब्रेरीज हैं, लेबोरेटरीज हैं। इन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर्स को बाकी और एरियाज में कहाँ कहाँ यूज किया जा सकता है, कौन कौन यूज कर सकता है, जिससे समाज में और लोगों का फायदा हो और हमारा भी फायदा हो, हमारे बच्चों का फायदा हो। इसके अपॉर्चुनिटीज ढूंढना एज ए प्रिंसिपल हमें बहुत जरूरी है। और इसके लिए जितने पार्टनर्स आपके साथ हो सकते हैं उनको ला करके इंट्रोड्यूस करना स्कूल से, स्कूल के बच्चों के साथ बहुत ज़रूरी है। नहीं तो हमारे बच्चे वही 12th पास होकर के डिग्री कॉलेज ढूंढेंगे कहाँ है, मैं बीए में एडमिशन लूँ, फिर बीए पास करने के बाद वो एमए में एडमिशन के लिए डिग्री कॉलेज ढूंढ रहे होंगे। हमें हर बच्चे के लिए एक अपॉर्चुनिटी देनी है। इसके लिए अपने पूरे सिस्टम को, पूरे स्कूल को चेंज करना है। अगर हम अपने स्कूल को इस हिसाब से चेंज नहीं करेंगे तो हम नॉन वायबल इंस्टीट्यूशन होंगे। थोड़े दिन बाद हमारे स्कूल में कोई एडमिशन लेने वाला नहीं होगा। बच्चे उस जगह जाएंगे जहां पर उनको स्किलिंग मिल रही है। अगर स्किलिंग नहीं दिए, क्यों, अब ग्रेजुएट हों, आप इंटर पास हों, पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट हों, लेकिन आप मार्केट जो चीज चाह रही है, अगर हमारे पास वो स्किल्स नहीं है तो हम पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट सोशियोलॉजी में घूम रहे हैं, हमें कौन सी नौकरी मिलेगी। जैसा मैंने निवेदन किया कि 50,000 नौकरियां मैक्सिमम उन एरियाज में है जिनमें ये जेनरिक डिग्रीज काम आती हैं। दूसरी चीज, बहुत सारी इंडस्ट्रीज ऐसी हैं जिन्होंने अब इस मसले पर सोचना शुरू किया कि हम एजुकेशन में वहीं पर काम करना शुरू करें ताकि हमें जो वर्कफोर्स चाहिए है वो हमें मिल सके। हमारे लिए, मतलब इंडस्ट्री के लिए भी एक बहुत ट्रिकी सिचुएशन है कि वो इंजीनियरिंग ग्रेजुएट ले रहे हैं या सिंपल ग्रेजुएट ले रहे हैं या 12th पास ले रहे हैं और फिर उनकी स्किलिंग में 2-3 साल, 4 साल, 5 साल खर्च करते हैं और उसके बाद वो वहां से जैसे ही ट्रेन होते हैं तो बेटर अपॉर्चुनिटी जहां मिलती है वहां भाग जाते हैं। हम लोग ये कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि बहुत सारी इंडस्ट्रीज के साथ पार्टनरशिप करके स्कूल लेवल पर उनके साथ पार्टनरशिप करें और उनकी जो रिक्वायरमेंट है उस तरीके की एजुकेशन स्कूल्स में दें। इस पर भी बहुत गहनता से विचार चल रहा है। वी आर ओपनिंग आवर एरियाज, जो हमारे स्कूल का सेटअप है उसको खोल करके पूरा बच्चों को क्या चाहिए उस ओर हम ले जा रहे हैं। बहुत ज्यादा इस पर फोकस नहीं कर रहे हैं, बहुत ज्यादा हम अपने एक स्ट्रक्चर्ड जो हमारा सिस्टम था कि कक्षा 9 के बाद 10 पढ़ना है, 10 के बाद 11 पढ़ना है, और ये हमें सीख जो नई शिक्षा नीति है उसने दी। बहुत बड़े चेंजेस की तरफ, बहुत बड़े बदलाव की तरफ इशारा करती है नई शिक्षा नीति, और उसमें स्किलिंग को, बच्चों की 21st सेंचुरी स्किल्स को डेवलप करने के लिए बहुत बड़ी ओपनिंग है नई शिक्षा नीति में। हमने जब 10th में, हम तो उस जनरेशन में थे जब 10th में भी सब्जेक्ट आपको सेलेक्ट करने पड़ते थे, तब 10th में आप साइंस ले लिए तो बाकी फिर म्यूजिक आप नहीं सीख सकते, फिर आप आर्ट नहीं सीख सकते, फिर आप इकोनॉमिक्स नहीं पढ़ सकते। आपको 12th में जाकर के अगर आपने साइंस ले ली है तो आप अगेन यू कैन नॉट स्टडी सोशियोलॉजी और साइकोलॉजी और ज्योग्राफी। आप फिजिक्स और ज्योग्राफी नहीं पढ़ सकते, आप केमिस्ट्री और साइकोलॉजी नहीं पढ़ सकते, बायोलॉजी और साइकोलॉजी नहीं पढ़ सकते। पहली बार ये नई शिक्षा नीति में आपको ये अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलेगी कि एट 12th यूनिवर्सिटी और किसी भी लेवल पर आप इस तरीके के स्ट्रक्चर में नहीं फंसेंगे। दीज आर दी साइंस सब्जेक्ट्स, दीज आर दी कॉमर्स सब्जेक्ट, दीज आर दी ह्यूमैनिटीज, इन एरियाज को आप सेलेक्ट करिए। आप फिजिक्स पढ़ने के साथ साथ एक स्किल के सब्जेक्ट को भी पढ़ सकते हैं, आप प्लम्बिंग भी सीख सकते हैं। सो दैट, बड़ी अच्छी बात याद आ गई, इस समय नमामि गंगे प्रोजेक्ट में हर गांव में हर घर नल योजना चल रही है, और मैं अपने गांव गया तो वहां पर देखा कि हर दरवाजे पर नल लग गया है। एवरीबडी इज सर्चिंग फॉर अ प्लम्बर। हर आदमी हर गांव में एक प्लम्बर को ढूंढ रहा है कि हमारे यहां टोटी लगा दे, हमारी टोटी खराब हो गई, ठीक कर दे, बदल दे। एकदम जिसे कहते हैं ना, फ्लडिंग डिमांड ऑफ प्लम्बिंग। और हम प्लम्बर तैयार, हमने तो इंटरमीडिएट पास कराया है, हमें सोशियोलॉजी के लिए तैयार कर रखा है, मार्केट के लिए तैयारी नहीं कर रखा। दूसरा एक और है, एक प्लम्बर नॉर्मली आपके घर विजिट करता है शहर में तो बहुत ज्यादा, गांव में भी 300 रुपए बड़े आराम से कमा सकता है एक दिन में। एक महीने में बड़े आराम से वो 10,000 रुपए कमा सकता है। और वहीं MA सोशियोलॉजी करके एक प्राइमरी स्कूल में या किसी प्राइवेट स्कूल में टीचर बनने में उसको 5 से 8,000 रुपए गांव में, मैं शहर की बात नहीं कर रहा, वह 8,000 रुपए मिलते हैं। सम्मान किसको मिलता है? वो जो प्राइमरी स्कूल में या किसी प्राइवेट स्कूल में टीचर है। वो जो प्लम्बर है जिसने उससे ज्यादा कमाया है उसको सम्मान अभी नहीं मिल रहा है। हमारी सोसाइटी में कुछ इस तरीके से है। क्यों? क्योंकि हमने पूरा स्ट्रक्चर इस हिसाब से बन रखा। जब हम अपने सेटअप में, पूरे एजुकेशन सिस्टम में इस तरीके के कोर्सेज की अपॉर्चुनिटी देंगे, हम फिजिक्स के साथ एक प्लम्बिंग का कोर्स या IT का कोर्स या मोबाइल रिपेयरिंग का कोर्स, ऑटोमोबाइल का कोर्स साथ में कराएंगे, और उसके साथ ये अपॉर्चुनिटी होगी बच्चे के पास। अगर वो इंजीनियरिंग में नहीं सेलेक्ट हुआ तो वो अपना कुछ आगे प्लम्बिंग में अगर आगे जाना चाहता है, ITI करना चाहता है, पॉलिटेक्निक करना चाहता है, अपना बिजनेस सेटअप करना चाहता है, कुछ भी करना चाहता है, उसके पास ये अपॉर्चुनिटी है। इसके लिए स्कूल लेवल पर ओपनिंग की जा रही है और ये कोर्सेज शुरू हो रहे हैं, बट ग्रेजुअली हम एकदम बड़े चेंजेस नहीं ला पाते हैं। जैसे हमने रिक्वेस्ट की कि 150 स्कूलों में इस साल शुरू कर रहे हैं इस तरीके के कोर्स, 250 गवर्नमेंट स्कूलों में, 300 गवर्नमेंट स्कूलों में हम जो मॉडर्न स्किलिंग के कोर्सेज हैं, जिनमें रिटेल है, सिक्योरिटी है, ऑटोमोबाइल है, इस तरीके के कोर्सेज शुरू कर रहे हैं। अभी शुरुआत में इनमें केवल सर्टिफिकेशन है, बाद में कोर सब्जेक्ट के रूप में ये ऑप्शन रहेगा बच्चों के साथ। वी आर स्टडिंग द पैटर्न ऑफ CBSE कि बेस्ट ऑफ 5 के लिए इसमें जो मार्किंग आपको अब मिल रही है वो मार्क्स बच्चे को इसमें भी जोड़ने को मिले। इस तरीके की चेंजेस के लिए हम लोग तैयारी कर रहे हैं और यह प्रयास कर रहे हैं कि हमारे विद्यालय में पढ़ने वाले बच्चे जागरूक नागरिक होकर के उत्तर प्रदेश के निकलें। न सिर्फ जागरूक नागरिक होकर के निकलें, बल्कि वो समाज में कुछ कंट्रीब्यूट कर सकें, स्किलिंग उनकी हो, अगर वो आगे पढ़ना चाहते हैं, उनके पास आगे पढ़ने की अपॉर्चुनिटी हो, अगर काम करना चाहते हैं तो इस तरीके का उनके पास सर्टिफिकेट हो कि वो काम कर सकें, अगर अपना रोजगार करना चाहते हैं तो उनके पास इस तरीके का स्किल हो कि वो अपना रोजगार कर सकें। तभी हम जो 1 ट्रिलियन इकोनॉमी का हमारा टारगेट है उत्तर प्रदेश का, हम उसमें कुछ कॉन्ट्रीब्यूट कर सकेंगे। विद दीज वर्ड्स मैं बहुत शुक्रगुजार हूँ टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया का कि इस महत्वपूर्ण विषय पर
Priya Kumar is an internet
और हमारे प्रिंसिपल्स को ये अपॉर्चुनिटी दी कि वो इस बारे में सोच सकें और अच्छे वक्ताओं को सुन सकें। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद और बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं। अगर कोई सवाल हो तो हाँ प्लीज।
सवाल नहीं है पांडे साहब, सिर्फ एक छोटा ऑब्जर्वेशन है। आपने 10,000 रुपए की बात की, 5 से 8,000 रुपए की बात की। आज के ज़माने में इज दिस व्हाट वी आर एक्सपेक्टिंग आवर चिल्ड्रन टू अचीव? Is this the standard that we are producing from our schools? I'm sorry, but I don't agree.
सही बात, मैं भी सहमत नहीं हो रहा हूँ, बिल्कुल सही बात है। जब मैं ये कह रहा था वाकई में मुझे लग रहा था कि मैं गलत बात कह रहा हूँ, लेकिन ये बात गलत नहीं है, ये रियलिटी है। हो गया हम अपने पहली चीज की हम अपने जो स्किल्ड लेबर है उसको हम ही नहीं बहुत अच्छा पे करते हैं। हम जब अच्छा पे करना शुरू करेंगे ऑटोमेटिकली 20,000 और 25,000 और 30,000 कमाना शुरू कर देंगे। ये एक क्रूअल फैक्ट है कि हमारे जो प्राइवेट स्कूल हैं, माफ करिएगा कुछ हमारे साथी प्राइवेट स्कूल के बैठे हुए हैं, दे आर नॉट पेइंग नाइसली। गीता जी बहुत अच्छा पे करती हैं, लेकिन दे आर एन नंबर ऑफ स्कूल्स जो बहुत अच्छा पे नहीं कर रहे हैं। मैं उनका उदाहरण दे रहा था। मैं मिनिमम वेज जो मिल रहा है, मैंने 300 रुपया वो वाला कोट किया है। हम अगर स्किल नहीं देंगे, बच्चे को स्किलिंग नहीं करेंगे तो उसे वो मिनिमम वेज भी नहीं मिलेगा। नोबडी इज गोइंग टू पे हिम दैट। हम कतई टारगेट नहीं कर रहे हैं कि बच्चे को 10,000 रुपए की लाइफ मिले, उसे 50,000 रुपए की लाइफ मिले, उसे 1 करोड़ का पैकेज मिले, लेकिन हमारी वो उसका अपना एक्सेलिंग होगी। हमारी तैयारी क्या है? हमने उसको कौन सी अपॉर्चुनिटी एज ए स्कूल दी? हमने कोई अपॉर्चुनिटी नहीं दी कि उसने अपने आप एक्सेल किया या बड़े अच्छे पैकेज मिल रहे हैं अगर किसी को, तो उसमें एज ए स्कूल उस IIM करके उसको मिल रहा है, लेकिन एज ए इंटर स्कूल हमने क्या दिया? इसलिए जब मैं ये बात कह रहा था कि मार्केट के लिए उसकी क्या तैयारी है, मार्केट अगर उसे बेटर पे करती है तो मार्केट उसे बेटर मिले। मैं जब कोट कर रहा था 8,000 10,000, तो प्रेजेंट मार्केट में उसे जो मिल रहा है मैं उसकी बात कर रहा था। हाँ, मैं आपकी बात से सहमत हूं। हम कतई नहीं तैयार कर रहे हैं कि बच्चे को इस स्टैंडर्ड की बात को की लाइफ मिले कि वो 8,000 10,000 ही कमा सके। थैंक यू। इस तरीके की स्लिप आने का मतलब है धन्यवाद करिए। और बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं आपको आज के दिन के लिए, और बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, आपने बड़ी पेशेंटली हमको सुना। थैंक यू।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद पांडे साहब आपका हम सभी को संबोधित करने के लिए, और जो आपने वर्णन किए कि शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में बदलते वक्त के साथ जो आप बदलाव लाए हैं इस क्षेत्र में, वो यकीनन सराहनीय है। Well, just a brief background. Even I am a qualified teacher, but कोई लेना देना नहीं है teaching profession से. I have changed my career, but yes, schooling did turn out to be helpful in me. The reason why I'm asking this, why all your education leaders, because कई बार ऐसा वक्त आता है कि जब आप एक लोड में दब जाते हैं, बच्चों को ये पढ़ाना है, ऐसे सिखाना है, कैसे एक्साइटिंग बनाए, and you have your family life also. Being a lady, gentleman also has their family life, but ऐसे में बहुत ज़रूरी होती है कि आपको कोई मोटिवेट करे, आपको कोई कहे यू आर ऑन द राइट ट्रैक, कीप ऑन गोइंग एंड यू कैन डू द बेस्ट। तो आप सभी को अभी पेप अप करने के लिए, अभी मोटिवेट करने के लिए हमारे बीच है एक बहुत ही रिनाउंड मोटिवेशनल स्पीकर, इंटरनेशनली रिनाउंड। शब्द काफ़ी नहीं होंगे इनका वर्णन करने के लिए। मैं मंच पर अब आमंत्रित करना चाहूँगी जेन ज़ी स्ट्रैटेजी की जो लीडर कहला सकती हैं, प्रिया कुमार। प्लीज़ पुट योर हैंड्स टुगेदर एंड वेलकम the internationally acclaimed motivational speaker, best-selling author and screen writer Priya Kumar, जो कि अब अपने सेशन में आप सभी को मोटिवेट करेंगी. Over to you, Priya.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Oh my God, some of you look upset. Is everything okay? Yeah, matlab maine kuch nahi kiya. So whatever is happening out in the world. Thank you very much for the lovely introduction. It is such a pleasure to be here, I must tell you. You know, jab hame bachpan mein bola jata tha that the principal is calling you, it meant something else, you know. So this time there was a little fright that so many principals are going to be there. So maine sab acha hi kiya hai. Yeah, so I must say it's a privilege to be here addressing you. मैंने आपकी profiles देखी तो ये उल्टा हिसाब है थोड़ा. You know, I should be sitting there and you should be talking here and telling us. I mean, your experience is so rich. I can technically ask you कि इस देश का future क्या है? आपके हाथ में है. Yeah, so it's an honor, it's a privilege. Thank you very much, Shelly, for the lovely introduction. You speak very well. ये बहुत अच्छा बोलती है ना? Yeah. Hey, everyone say yes, she's still here only. Yeah, big hand for you. And I must say on the onset, I am very intimidated. आप लोग की हिंदी इतनी बेहतरीन है. My God, it's like to another level that if I speak in Hindi, it sounds like another language now. See, I grew up in Chandigarh और you know, North की हिंदी इतनी अच्छी तहजीब वाली है, very nice, it's also melodious. But when I moved to Bombay, so I've been in Bombay for the past 30 odd years, और Bombay की हिंदी ना थोड़ी गड़बड़ वाली है, सब सड़ेला गड़ेला फटेला. So when I went there, I said, ये क्या है? So I decided I will not speak Hindi. कि अगर बोलने लगे ना तो वो एकदम बम्बईया भाषा हो जाएगी. अब वो ना बोलने में ना वो भी गड़बड़ हो गई. So pardon me, my Hindi is not like yours, sir, and you speak exceptionally well. तो थोड़ा हिंदी इंग्लिश चलेगा? Is that okay? Okay, perfect. So to give you a little introduction about myself, my name is Priya Kumar. I have been a motivational speaker ab 27 saal ho gaye. It's been 27 years. I've been doing this for a very long time. I started working very early. At the age of 13, I started teaching. I was a tuition teacher. I taught for 9 years, all my schooling. I taught over 1900 kids. Shahid Kapoor was my student. Yeah, so I must tell you, I don't have his number anymore. वो हर साल number change करते हैं. So see, it's nice to throw in a little glamour quotient also, no? अच्छा लगता है. So I taught over 1900 students. Then I moved into motivational speaking. I'm also a columnist. I have over 700 published columns. And while it sounds very, you know, nice and the number sounds very good, let me tell you, उसके पैसे नहीं देते. You know, ये सब बोलते हैं आप लिख दो और वो लिख के 700 हो गए हैं. Just letting you know. नहीं तो कई बार लगता है ना इतना काम किया तो इतने पैसे कमाए होंगे. You and I know जितना अच्छा काम उतने कम पैसे है ना. So see, those of you who are smiling, I know that you resonate with the feeling. You know, and it's a real feeling. तो काफ़ी radio shows, television shows भी मैंने किया है, almost about 100. It must be touching about 100. Again, it's a lot of work but no money. Just letting you know. And I have written 15 inspirational books और बहुत अच्छी किताबें हैं मेरी, even if I say so. See, डर लगता है बोल के कि अच्छी किताबें हैं क्योंकि आप पढ़ लेंगे, you know, और फिर अच्छी ना निकले तो फिर नाम खराब हो जाएगा. So these are really good books, 15 inspirational books I have written, which have won 44 international awards, which is, I'm the only author in India who's won international awards. But let me tell you, so if you buy one book of mine, I get 19 rupees. Might as well don't buy the book, just give the 19 rupees. You know, so people look at my profile, वो पढ़ के बोलते हैं wow. So you have to smile and accept it. Wow. I mean, principle is status. Wow. And you and your God only knows what you are going through. What kind of pressure is there on you. तो मतलब अच्छा है that, you know, thing. See, like I said, only if you're suffering, you will clap. You're not clapping for me. You're clapping के ये सबकी यही life है ना. And if you have started from the educational background, we are okay with it. वी हैव रियलाइज्ड अच्छा करते जाओ और फल की इच्छा मत करो क्योंकि मिलेगा नहीं. So, इसलिए ये नहीं कि देर से मिलेगा एंड ऑल, ये सब होने वाला है नहीं, यू नो. सो आई वाज सिटिंग इन अ फ्लाइट वन टाइम और मेरे साथ एक बाबा जी बैठे थे, ऑरेंज रोब, लॉन्ग बियर्ड. मुझे लगा बाबा जी होंगी, बट ही वाज अ पॉलिटिशियन. तो मुझसे पूछ लिया कि क्या करती हैं आप. अब अगर आप मेरे साथ फ्लाइट में बैठे हैं ना, मैं कभी नहीं बोलूँगी दैट आई एम अ मोटिवेशनल स्पीकर. फिर आप सीट चेंज कर लेंगे, है ना, कि अभी 2 घंटे भाषण मिलेगा. सी यही है ना प्रॉब्लम पोजीशन की. आई एम अ टीचर, यू नो, आई एम मतलब भाषण तो मिलने वाला है, राइट. सो आई डोंट से आई एम अ मोटिवेशनल स्पीकर, क्योंकि कई बार ना लोग निकल गए फिर आए नहीं वापस. तो मतलब एंड ऐसा होता है ना, आधी बात रह गई एंड यू वेट कि फ्लाइट लैंड हो गई, अब आएंगे, आए नहीं. आई डोंट नो वेयर ही वेंट मिडवे इन द एयर. सो इफ यू मीट मी एंड यू आस्क मी आप क्या करती हैं, आई विल से आई एम अ राइटर. By God, writer has a higher, you know, reverence. फिर पूछेंगे क्या लिखा है, फिर मैं आधी कहानी सुना दूंगी and then they'll say आगे ऐसे अब बुक ले लो. Yeah, so अच्छा है, that it works for me. तो ये बाबा जी ने पूछा आप क्या करती हैं. I said I work in the corporate world. तो बोलते हैं ओहो, the corporate world is a very spiritual environment. तो मतलब I said what? He said yes, to survive in the corporate world you have to forget yourself and serve others. है ना, ये तो हर वर्ल्ड में चल रहा है. सो दैट इज द बॉटम लाइन. यू बेसिकली आर सर्विंग अदर्स ओनली, और उसी पे हर प्रोफेशन आई थिंक चल रहा है. सो आई थॉट कि आई विल लिटिल बिट इंट्रोड्यूस माई सेल्फ सो यू ऑल्सो नो कि बात कौन कर रहा है. Okay, so I have been on both sides as a teacher, as a student, principal never. Yeah, so it's a privilege to be speaking with you. तो चलिए, I have an agenda जो मेरे अगले 30-40 मिनट हैं. तो 2-3 points I'll be discussing. But before I go on to my agenda, I would like to set some rules. Are you all okay with rules? So kind of you. See, मैं काफ़ी सवाल पूछूंगी and safely the answer to all my questions is yes only. अब आप ना बोलेंगे फिर बात होगी तो टाइम जाएगा. Yeah, so yes is okay as an answer. So my first rule is you all will smile. See, I do this because I love my job. And with the way some of you are looking at me, no, I'll quit today only. So you will smile, it's compulsory. ऐसा कहते हैं public speaking ranks number 2 in the list of fears. Number 1 is fear of death. मतलब मरने के बाद publicly बोलना is a second fear. So you will smile, is that a deal? Even if you're not happy, fake it. Okay, so now if I look at you directly, you smile. Okay, if you're confused who I'm looking at, all of you smile. है ना, ऐसे बोलते हैं कि कंफ्यूज हो जाए तो स्माइल, एटलीस्ट लगेगा नहीं ना कि पता नहीं पड़ा, राइट. सो दैट साइड okay, they all are smiling, that is good. See, I also do a lot of workshops for pharma companies, और ये medically proven है that when you smile a lot in your younger years, then when you grow old, the wrinkles form at the right places so you don't look scary. I mean, some of you have lost the opportunity. No, some, I tell you, sir, they all were looking at this table only. यहीं से शुरू है. But if you start today, there is still hope. Okay, so you will smile. Let me see. Okay, wonderful. All right. Now, second is that you know, थोड़ा एक connection बन जाए तो अच्छी बात है. Okay, नहीं तो क्या है ना, that सुनता नहीं कोई. That is the main problem in all marriages, in all relationships, whether at school or at home. Correct? We have this whole thing of switch off. तो एक connection बनाए रखने के लिए ना, I'll play a little game, okay? Just to make sure कि आप मेरे साथ जुड़े हुए हैं और मैंने आपको खो नहीं दिया. Okay, so the game goes like this. Every time I say hi, you will respond saying hello. ठीक है? It's very simple. So hi, everyone. So hi, super. Then if I say hello, you'll say the opposite, which is hi. Okay, तो ये सिर्फ है देखने के लिए कि are you tracking with me or not. So hello, hi, great. Now I'll trick you. बातों बातों में I'll say hi. See, half of you already lost. बातों बातों में I'll say hello. हाँ, you have to catch it and say hi. See, you lost again. You know, see, हम क्या बोलते हैं, ध्यान नहीं देते, या वो क्या बोलते हैं ना, it all starts from self. So hello, okay. तो I'll say बातों बातों में I was outside and Shelly ma'am said hi Priya. Oh, very good. You all are good now. Okay, so clear ho gayi baat. You will smile and you will track with me. Hello. Okay, super. So I have an agenda. I came a little early. तो मैं सुन रही थी कि काफी चर्चा हो रही है career पे. You know that a lot of emphasis is being put on career, which is very, very good. Because you see, the whole world is looking at India. And if you see, we are ruling everywhere. You know, you pick up the biggest companies, you pick up the biggest ventures, and now we are getting there, which is awesome. अब ये है कि यहीं पे रहे तो अच्छा है. You know, यहीं पे ही अगर हम करियर बना सके और यहीं पे अपॉर्चुनिटीज दे सके, where education and also employment work hand in hand, I think it would be great. तो ये आपका forte है, you have it sorted. Okay, now I want to highlight this कि you know हम एक and I must tell you this also कि मेरा मेन काम है कॉर्पोरेट्स के साथ, मिडिल मैनेजमेंट, टॉप मैनेजमेंट. दीज आर द पीपल दैट आई स्पीक टू. देन आई ऑल्सो स्पीक टू अ लॉट ऑफ स्कूल्स, कॉलेजेस, बिजनेस स्कूल स्टूडेंट्स. तो अगर आप एजुकेशन फील्ड देखेंगे ना, 95% ऑफ माई जॉब इज विद स्टूडेंट्स एंड 5% इज विद टीचर्स एंड मैनेजमेंट, नेवर प्रिंसिपल्स. दिस इज माई फर्स्ट टाइम. थैंक यू फॉर हैविंग मी हियर. तो ये एक बात मैं बता देती हूँ, whether we are going to top management, CXO level, middle management, students, सब जगह problem चल रही है. You know, when I am called, imagine, पूरा top management बैठा, तो मुझे क्यों बुलाया है? To motivate them. Means कुछ तो गड़बड़ है ना? Correct? Like, the higher you go, the more is breaking down of the ego कि उनकी भी सुनो. You don't know everything. Put your ear to the ground. Then you go to the middle management, वहाँ पे भी problem. Go to the students, वहाँ पे भी problem. तो gap तो हर जगह है, correct? Hello? Hey, you all look upset. सही बात है ना? Like I did abhi recently 2-3 months ago, I was called for a convention of 800 teachers. Okay? और main मुद्दा क्या था? Take more responsibility and ownership. Your profile as a teacher does not end at the end of the period. Okay, it's a continued responsibility. तो आप सोचिए, ऐसा नहीं कि एक जगह से गैप है. It is a full circle. Okay, and I believe that the future, हम बोलते हैं ना कि पूरा future next generation के हाथ में है और वो next generation हमारे हाथ में है. तो technically the future is in our hands. Correct? Instead of asking them ये कहाँ जा रही है दुनिया, I should sit with you and ask you कहाँ ले जा रहे हैं दुनिया. Right? So it's looking at it from a different lens, and I tell you the lens has changed. ये दुनिया बदल चुकी है. Correct? Would you agree? अब कुछ नहीं कर सकते, बचा नहीं सकते आप. Now you have to change your lens to find a solution to it. See, a lot of emphasis, I tell you, I speak with so many parents. It's the same story. They feel ये बदल जाएंगे, वो वॉल्यूम बहुत हो गया है. We are minority now, right? So we have to now change our lens and secure the future. ये है एक reality, accept कर ली है. And also, I think that keepers of education and keepers of the future and keepers of the career of the next generation, we have to lead and guide without resistance. Would you agree? क्योंकि see, you have a fortune of wisdom, you have a fortune of experience, लेकिन वो काम नहीं आ रहा ना, because they think we know more than you know. ये डायलॉग आप बेशक स्कूल में सुने ना सुने, घर पे जरूर सुनते हैं, और वही लोग, वही बच्चे स्कूल में जा रहे हैं और किसी और को सुना रहे हैं. Correct? How many of you heard you don't know mom? How many of you heard that? Hourly basis. Yeah? And I tell you, it's true. End of the day, what I mean to say is that है तो सच ही बात, तो मान ले. And I'll tell you that हमारा जो generation है, I believe that we are the same age, mostly. Yeah, so hey, some of you look upset now. Okay, all of us are at the same age. See, we also had a generation gap with our parents, with our elders. पर जो change हमारे ज़माने का था ना, वो थोड़ा slow था, stable था, steady था, correct? And change हुआ, we had to change our ways, they had to change their ways, but वो एक stability थी where we did not lose our values, where we did not lose our culture, where we did not lose some principles, where we did not lose, वो क्या बोलते हैं, emotional and spiritual stability. Would you agree? झगड़ा तो तब भी हुआ, पर एक स्टेबल वे में. अब जो जमाना आया ना, दैट आई फील इज एक्सपोनेंशियल चेंज. मतलब ये हमारा ऐसे टुकुर 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 चला था, अब ये ऐसे चला गया है, ना उनको समझ में आ रहा है क्या हो रहा है, ना हमें समझ में आ रहा है क्या हो रहा है. Anyone feel this way? Hello? और ये निकल चुका है. See, there are two ways of looking at it. One is, let me try to control it. It's no longer in our control. Now the best thing that I can do is accept, accommodate and adjust. And if that is the attitude, then I have to see what is the best that we can do for the next generation. See, I am so old school. You know, हमें ऐसा लगता है कि वो ज़माना अलग है. I'm so old school, I don't use a PPT. I'm still a whiteboard and chalk and board person. आज तक, it's been 27 years, I do not use a PPT. You know, कि पहले ही मैं लिख लेती हूँ. तो is that okay with you? I'm a writer. When I say I'm a writer, I actually write. And I must also tell you, मैं ना biographies लिखती हूँ. मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है to capture the lives of people who've made it on their own terms, from zero to legacy. Okay? And we could be the last generation now who have what we have. This fortune of wisdom and experience. हमने वो non-internet age भी देख लिया है, correct? जब फोन नहीं था, जब वो MTNL के लिए 5-10 साल वेट करना पड़ता था और एक फोन आया, from mobile phone to today, we have seen the entire journey. And I don't think this new generation will ever understand what we know. It's not possible, don't even try. Okay? और जो ये legacies खड़ी है ना आज, these younger generation, they are looking at success, they want success fast. But we see the legacies that were built on nothing except relationships, except character, except confidence. Would you agree? तो मैंने biography लिखी लेटरी ओपी मुंजाल की. हीरो ग्रुप आपने सुना होगा. He's a founder of Hero Honda, Hero Cycles, the Hero Group. He was the founder of it. आप सोचिए, ये उनका 4th generation चला रहा है. Imagine, that man built a legacy from nothing. You know, so yes, there is a lot of stress on opportunities, on talent, but there is something else underlying. और मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि अगर वो हम pillars protect कर लेना, तो उसके ऊपर जो चाहे बनाए और वो अच्छा ही होगा. You know, if you feel कि the world is changing, imagine a world 30 years from now. अभी disconnect feel हो रहा है, आप 30 साल आगे जाइए. Some of us won't be there also. Right? Imagine how far from reality that world is कि हम सोच भी नहीं सकते. और तब क्या चलेगा? What is the gap today? Emotional stability, confidence, you know, और अपने आप को आगे रखना. I think these 3 things are majorly missing. I know you will do this. You will get the talent, you will get the skill in place. Okay, वो एक technicality है. You have to introduce the course, you have to match what the students want. वो हो जाएगा. But does that guarantee a better future? I don't know. Okay, so what are the pillars is something that I want to highlight on. कि education, talent, skill being the same. ये अगर इसमें और पावर डाला जाए, still there are some gaps. You know, मैंने पुलेला गोपीचंद के ऊपर बायोग्राफी लिखी. Do you know पुलेला गोपीचंद? He is the coach for PV Sindhu, Saina Nehwal, और वो खुद वर्ल्ड बैडमिंटन चैंपियन रहे हैं. And now he is the chief national coach for the Olympics team. तो उन्होंने कहा कि उनकी जो अकेडमी है ना, उसमें 1000 प्लेयर एनरोल. 1000 players enroll. Even at this moment, there are 1000 players in his academy. And do you know at what age they enroll? Hello? So if you want to be a sportsman, at what age will you enroll? 4, 5, 6 is too late. अभी आप सोचिए, you remember when you were 4 years old? Some of you are having a difficult time. And you're wondering, was I 4 years old or did I skip that year? Yeah, so you remember when you were 4 years old. अब 4 साल का बच्चा जो स्पोर्ट्स में जा रहा है, स्कूल छोड़ के, फ्रेंड्स छोड़ के, फैमिली छोड़ के, actually getting into a military life, that 4-year-old must have a vision. Otherwise, they will not go because you want him to go. Correct? Right? So imagine, 5-year-old boy has enrolled into the academy. Why? What does he want? What does he want? Definitely he wants to be a world champion, no? कहीं ना कहीं तो सचिन तेंदुलकर से प्रभावित तो होंगे ही. correct? So they have a vision, and the vision is success.
Progress.
What is Gopi Chand
It comes from having a
providing?
clear
He is
objective.
providing the skill, the talent, the education, correct? और वो बोलते हैं कि ये 1000 बच्चे जो enroll होते हैं ना, इसमें से how many will make it to world championship? How many? Give me a number. 1000 have enrolled. They have dedicated their whole life to sport. अब मीठा भी नहीं खाते. चाट जो आपकी बास्केट चाट है ना यहाँ की, वो सोच भी नहीं सकते, सूंघ भी नहीं सकते. Right? So how many will make it to world champion level? How many? Take a guess. I like how you're saying 4 or 5, you're right. But Gopi Chand has a higher ratio. 14% he delivers. अभी आप सोचिए, 1000 में से 14 will make it. But what about the 986? That is the disparity. Okay? And he says जब Olympics की selection होती है ना, shortlist में 150 players are called. And I was there. अभी जब ये Olympics हुआ था ना, तो उससे पहले he called the players. And he said, अब देखो, एक एक जो आएगा ना अंदर, same physique, same body, similar height, उतनी practice है, उतना खेला है, सब routine किया है, पूरा discipline, पूरा diet, they all are on equal ground, 150. तब तो जाके shortlist हुए हैं. पर अब ये इसमें से जो 15 सिलेक्ट होंगे वो इस क्राइटेरिया पे सिलेक्ट होंगे ही नहीं, वो क्राइटेरिया अलग है. यू गेट व्हाट आई एम सेइंग? ये तो मेन, ये तो बेसिक हो गया. आप सोचिए, एक्सेलेंस हैज बिकम बेसिक. उसके ऊपर क्या है? एंड ही सेड आई वांट टू नो हाउ ही थिंक्स. उसकी सोच कैसी है. एंड द पीपल हु मेक इट बियॉन्ड दैट बैरियर, देयर इज समथिंग अबव ऑल ऑफ दिस, एंड दैट इज हाउ दे थिंक. कि जब वो क्राइसिस आएगा ना, व्हेन द ऑडियंस इज बूइंग और बोल रही है कि इंडिया हारेगा, हाउ विल यू स्टैंड एंड स्टिल डिलीवर, राइट? सो आई हैव कैप्चर्ड 3 पॉइंट्स. ओके, कि मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि जो टैलेंट, एजुकेशन और स्किल है ना, आपसे बेहतर तो वो कोई इस फील्ड में सोच भी नहीं सकता. आई वुड ओनली बी शोइंग अ स्मॉल फ्लेम टू द सन, बट व्हाट आई कैन डू, बिकॉज आई हैव हैड डायरेक्ट एक्सपीरियंस विद द स्टूडेंट्स and their future, which is the top management, that I'll tell you 3 gap areas which still exist. मतलब मुझे तो सोच के हैरानी होती है यार, मतलब ये वही बात चल रही है सालों से. The first is confidence. Do you think कि skill on one side, confidence on the other side? Do you think so? Hello? Definitely. Okay, I had the privilege of interviewing Lata Mangeshkar. Now she's no more, but you all know Lata Mangeshkar, right? तो वो ना गा रही थी. नहीं, अच्छा है पूछना, otherwise it's also a trick question, no? Hello? Okay, who does not know Lata Mangeshkar? Look, everybody. तो जब मेरी उनके साथ इंटरव्यू थी तो वो गा रही थी. She was singing for some other journalist. See, इंटरव्यू करते हैं और फिर बीच में तो एक वो ठूसेंगे, थोड़ा गा दीजिए, है ना, माहौल कोई भी हो पर गाना तो सुनना है. So she sang and then was my turn and I told her, you sing so well. I mean, you are the best singer in the country. और वो बोलती हैं, I am not. Hello? She says, I'm not. तो मुझे बोलती हैं, I have personally heard singers better than me. But because they never came out, you don't know. And you know only me. है ना? Imagine so much humility यार. I mean, जो पोजीशन पे वो हैं, वो बोल रहे हैं मुझसे भी बेहतर हैं, पर वो घर पे बैठे हुए हैं, निकल नहीं रहे, कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं है. They don't attempt, right? So education, talent, skill on one side, your custodians also bring power to confidence. And I tell you, अगर वो इस एज से स्टार्ट नहीं हुआ ना, वो आएगा नहीं. फिर यही बच्चों को ना, मैं नहीं 30 साल तो नहीं रहूंगी, पर 10 साल हो सकता है. Yeah, then I would be going and motivating them. You can do it. You can deliver. Have the vision, and so on. And so here is a little, reminder that it's very, very easy to build confidence. The idea is to lead and guide without resistance. See, I was raised by my grandparents, okay? और जो मेरे grandfather ना, आप मेरी कोई भी किताब पढ़ेंगे ना, पहला dedication is to my grandparents only. You know, तो कई लोगों को लगता है अच्छा how cute, कितना culturally it's nice to be culturally sound, but I tell you, my grandparents had the greatest influence in my life. Okay, the biggest teachers are also sitting at home. Right? पहली सीख तो वहीं से है. And my grandfather, he encouraged me without pushing me or, you know, what do you say, leading me. Okay, it's called, I like to call it this way, that, oh, this I already covered, that you give power to the kids and also give them direction. Because when you give them power and direction, they become unbeatable. तो my grandfather, जब मैं स्कूल में थी तो मुझे कहते थे कि मेरे लिए कोई बुक लेके आओ ना लाइब्रेरी से. Okay, अब grandfather is asking for a book from your library. फिर मुझे बोलते हैं वो पीछे का पढ़ना कि अच्छी है कि नहीं, अच्छी है तो लाना. He's encouraging me to read the books, the summaries, and decide whether it is good for him or not. What a clever strategy. I tell you, why will I not give him credit of being an author? तो मैं जाती थी library, अब कहाँ है, उनके लिए काम है ना. See, he put it a different way. You help me. I did not know he was helping me. Okay, तो अब मैं उनके लिए library से books लेके आती थी and so on. तो फिर वो he used to write these notes. He was an old fellow. फिर बोलते ये क्या लिखा है मैंने, इतनी shaky handwriting है, समझ में नहीं आ रहा मुझे. Will you write this for me? Hello? He's a genius. He's still around. I tell you, I feel the man. If I remove all of these from my life, I guarantee you I would not be standing here. Okay? फिर वो ना जानबूझ के मंदिर में चश्मा छोड़ के आते थे. बोलते चश्मा छूट गया, थोड़ा पढ़ के सुना. Hello? This was my daily regiment. He never told me, किताब पढ़नी चाहिए, पढ़ो, notes बनाने चाहिए, लिखो, अभी पढ़ो, okay, stand up and read. That's it. I don't want it. I will resist. I don't like my grandfather. I give him and my grandmother credit in everything I do. It's like so beautifully, उन्होंने मुझे जाल में फंसा दिया. And I am still here reading and writing and talking aloud. You know, and I tell you, every great leader has this modus operandi. अगर आप ये जोड़ के पकड़ लेना, you will change the world without knowing the world has changed. You know, जैसे ये आपके दायरे के बाहर change हो रहा है ना, वैसे ही आप दायरे के बाहर आप खुद change कर देंगे. I met with Mr. Bachchan. Have you met Mr. Bachchan? Amitabh Bachchan. Okay, awesome. Okay, तो अब ऐसा था कि कन्वेंशन था और मुझसे पहले वो स्पीकर थे. ओके, तो और आई ऑलमोस्ट हैड पैनिक अटैक्स एवरी डे फॉर 2 वीक्स. ये अब देखिए मिस्टर बच्चन बात करेंगे, उनके बाद मुझे बुला रहे हैं, कौन सुनेगा, है ना. उनके टॉक के बाद इट्स लाइक इन्हें वापस भेज दो, मिस्टर बच्चन को फिर बुला लो. तो आई वाज थिंकिंग व्हाट शैल आई टॉक अबाउट. तो वेरी इंटिमिडेटिंग. Okay, that you have such a big personality speaking before you. तो मैं आ गई कॉन्फ्रेंस में and I thought कि मैं पीछे बैक स्टेज में ना छुप के बैठ जाऊंगी, ना मुझे उनको सुनना है ना देखना है, नहीं तो मैं ही इन्फ्लुएंस हो जाऊंगी और खुद मेरा कॉन्फिडेंस जाएगा 0 पे. तो ऐसा हुआ, I reached early and I went backstage. पूरा खाली था. तो जैसे मैंने पर्दा हटाया, there was one chair in the corner with one man sitting on it, Mr. Bachchan. ऐसा बोलते हैं ना, वट एवर यू फियर एंड रेजिस्ट विल परसिस्ट. अब वो नहीं बैठना चाहते थे ग्रीन रूम में, बिकॉज सब फिर फोटो खिंचाएंगे, बातें करेंगे, उनको भाषण देना है, राइट. इट्स अ लॉट ऑफ प्रेशर, राइट. यू आर सीन प्रिपेयरिंग. अब मैं ऐसे आई, उन्होंने देखा मुझे, खड़े हो गए. दैट मैन स्टूड अप. हेलो, यू नो हाउ बिग दैट इज, that he sees a woman enter and he stands up. और ना पीछे इतना बड़ा वो ऐसे फ्लेक्स बैनर था, इतनी बड़ी फोटो मिस्टर बच्चन की और छोटे कॉइन साइज अदर स्पीकर्स की. ओके, छोटे छोटे राउंड सर्कल है, उसमें कहीं मेरा फेस था. ओके, he looked at me, my God, that man's periphery vision or whatever is so cool. He said, you're the speaker. ऐसे, you're the speaker. मतलब I died 1,000 deaths. कि मेरा गया प्रोग्राम, मेरा फिनिश हो गया सब. तो मैंने बोला यस सर. ही सेड कम. ओके, अब मैं अंदर गई ना, पीछे उनका मैनेजर दौड़ा दौड़ा आए, ये कौन गया पीछे. ओके, तो उनको बोलते हैं गेट अ चेयर. Okay, मेरे लिए chair मंगवाई. Then he's asking me, what are you going to talk on? How long have you been talking? Where are you from? Where is your father from? What does your mother do? How did you learn? How did you prepare? इतनी उन्होंने मेरी इंटरव्यू ले ली. हेलो, वो उनका जो मैनेजर है ना, आके 2 कॉफी उन्होंने दी, एक मुझे और एक मिस्टर बच्चन को. तो 15 मिनट मैंने बोला. He got into my world. Hello? My grandfather does that. He will get into your world and then say, किताब लाना. फिर ये लिखा नहीं जा रहा, फिर पढ़ा नहीं जा रहा, फिर बोला नहीं जा रहा. He decoded my whole world. तो इतने में 20 मिनट हो गए. उनका मैनेजर आया और बोला कि सर वील गो. तो बोलता है कि आपने कॉफी नहीं पी. उनकी कॉफी ऐसे ही उनके हाथ में ही पड़ी थी, पूरा कप. ओके, he says, no, I was listening to her. और मैंने पूरी कॉफी खत्म कर ली थी बोलते बोलते. हेलो, I wanted to spit out my whole coffee. That man gave me attention. He heard me. He came into my world and only acknowledged and only appreciated. No judgment. I'm from Chandigarh. My mother works in Reserve Bank. My father is a medical representative. ऐसे शुरू किया, ये किया. Wow. He was so enamored by it. He owed me nothing. Hello? And I tell you, when I say that lead without resistance, I have followed that man. He did not say follow me, correct? He did not say listen to me. He did not say watch my movies. He didn't say anything. All he did was give me attention and acknowledged. No judgment, appreciation, encouragement. I will follow him everywhere he goes. Hello? और जब मैंने ये बात किसी से बताई है ना, everyone says the same story. Everybody. But look at him. The kind of person he is, even if you never met him, you still follow him. क्योंकि कुछ तो बात है उनके बारे में. And I feel as custodians of the future, if we adopt this strategy to lead and guide without resistance, and the key words that I would put here is no judgment. इतना judgment है, I tell you, वो घर से भागते हैं. You know, there was this survey done by Harvard that men go to work because they want to leave the house. तो घर पे ऐसा क्या है, वो नहीं जा रहे, कुछ पर्पस पैशन ये नहीं है. Why do people leave the house and go? Because there's so much judgment. There is so much of ये करना चाहिए, वो करना चाहिए. Just one day sit and appreciate. Wow, amazing, how nice. My God, they will follow you. They will come everywhere. And I met him at the airport one time. Okay, and I looked at him and he did like that. Obviously, he did not recognize me. But what a beautiful gesture. And I feel that अगर आपको किसी को भी राह पे लाना है ना, तो उनके साथ पहले राह पे चलना पड़ेगा. तब जाके you can बात आधी कहानी सुनाओ, बातों बातों में टर्न मार लो, आएंगे. People buy my books because आधी कहानी सुनाते हैं. Hello? You know the CEO of Z5, जहाँ पे मेरी वेब सीरीज, one of my books was made into a web series. Okay, तो कितना लोग स्ट्रगल करते हैं बॉलीवुड में, इधर जाओ उधर जाओ, धक्के खाओ. तो आई से कि आपके साथ जो बैठे हैं उनको कहानी सुनाई, नहीं सुनाई ना, तो फिर छोड़ दो बात. ओके, अब वो बैठे थे मेरे साइड CEO Z5 के, तो पूछा क्या करती हैं. आई सेड आई राइट. He said, कौन सी कहानी लिखी है? I told him the story about a book which is about a plane crash in the plane. Half. Hello? तो बोलते हैं आगे. तो I said, you read the book. He was so upset because it was turbulent already. अब मैंने उनको plane crash की आधी कहानी सुनाई है और ये भी बोल दिया है कि look, end of the story, the plane crashes, everyone dies, but it has a very happy ending. तो he's just sitting like that. तो बोलते हैं yes, I will buy the book. तो ठीक है, अब मुझे क्या बोला उन्होंने? I will buy the book. तो जैसे ही फ्लाइट लैंड हुई, I said, sir, you can buy on Amazon. He only said, no, you can buy the book. See, my grandfather has taught me well. He would send me asking questions. If I would ask him, Bauji, why is the moon round? He said, I don't know, but can you find out for me? And now I would go finding out from people. And then he said, तुमको क्या लगता है? सही जवाब किसका सही है? And I'm analyzing answers of people. Right? So I told him, you can buy the book. So he looked at me. कि अब ये चाहती है मैं किताब भी खरीदूं. तो he bought the book. अभी क्या करेंगे? You know, one lady is sitting next to you, 2 घंटा कहानी सुनाई है, तो किताब तो लेनी पड़ेगी. So he bought the book. Then he asked me, how much money do you get from this book? So I said, sir, 19 rupees. He thought about it. He said, the last 2 hours couldn't have been about 19 rupees. है ना, इतनी मेहनत, 19 rupees. I said, no, the book will change your life. After 3 months, he called me. It was a 14-second call. Do you have the rights of the book? Have you sold the rights of the book? Can you give us the rights of the book? That is how my web series was made, right? So what I'm saying is, no judgment, appreciation, and encouragement, and you will have a generation following you. And that, when that happens, unko aap sahi disha pe le jao. And they are willing to, they want to. And second, I feel, is emotional stability. Do you know, one of the topics that I'm called, especially in engineering, okay, especially in technical areas, jo ye STEM ki baat chal rahi hai na, that you, actually it's a very, very good field, you know, to have data, to have coding, because that is the future. Aur kai bachchon ko aise lagta hai, mera to talent hai nahi, I'm not a painter, I'm not a singer. But actually this is exceptional talent which will also shape the future. और मुझे वहाँ पे किस topic के लिए बुलाया जाता है? To bring in some emotional stability, because suicide rate is going higher. Hello? And I feel कि अगर बंदा emotionally stable है ही नहीं, तो वो कैसे जाएगा? And you will agree, relationship का तो कोई मायना ही नहीं है. Is that not true? And look at the legacies that we see till today. They are rooted in relationships. They are rooted in human connection. आप किसी भी हीरो डीलरशिप में जाएंगे ना, तो एक भगवान की फोटो है और उसके next to it is O.P. Munjal's photo. That they treat him next to God based on what? Money. Money तो we all make. पर भगवान का दर्जा उसको देते हैं जिसने सच में कुछ relationship बनाया है. And emotional stability is key. And I tell you, so simple. Emotional stability comes from being productive. Okay, वो productive means काम करना, पढ़ना नहीं, काम करना. And I feel अगर पढ़ाई को काम में अभी से ही convert कर दिया जाए ना, it would sorry, it would bring great benefits. See, I started working at the age of 13. It's been how many years? 36 years हो गए. You know, I am still working. और जो सीख इस टाइम पे आ जाएगी ना दुनियादारी की, on making work work, on working with people, the power of responsibility, of ownership and exchange, जहाँ पैसे की बात आ जाती है ना, वो बदल जाता है इंसान. ऐसे बोलते हैं ना, पैसा बदल देता है लोगों को, तो might as well उनको अभी बदलो और उनका अच्छा बदलो. Hello? Yeah, I would encourage that, you know, promote these kids in internships, into projects which also have points and privileges. बहुत projects होते हैं colleges में, but something they can get in exchange, even money, points and privileges. See, when I was working, okay, when I started to work as a child, as a 13-year-old, it's a very, very big thing. Okay, and I owe a lot of my success to there. और आप जो भी field देखेंगे ना, एक वो talent की बात हो रही थी, मैंने पहले सुना था. Whether you're a painter, whether you're a singer, whether you're an artist, they start early. Sonu Nigam started at the age of 4. वहाँ से शुरू होता है. Whether we look at Bill Gates, whether we look at Steve Jobs, all of these people started to work. And I will also tell you one more thing. ये ना ऐसा एक दुनिया का सच है where age is no bar. Do you know the greatest depression starts after retirement? Because people are not productive. I am called on both spectrums, for children and for senior citizens. अब क्या करें? You can still work. You can still do something. And really, work shapes a person on applied education. और आज तो बहुत मजा है. These kids actually know a lot. मेरे पास कितने बच्चे internship करने आते हैं? Social media, technology, digital. Push them forward. And where money will come into the picture, no, you will see them change like skyrocket. क्योंकि तब जवाबदारी है. Otherwise, it's irresponsibility. And I owe a lot of me being here today, that एक वो ना responsibility to take setbacks, to take criticism. आप आज criticize करेंगे, depression में जाते हैं, they commit suicide. But when they go to work and they are told, no, do this better, वो पैसे ले रहा है, उसको points मिल रहे हैं, privileges मिल रहे हैं. They are able to accept criticism. They are helping each other get better. और वो सीख अगर मिल जाए ना, I tell you, it's like rocket stability. वो एक तो, I'll also tell you, rocket की बात बोली तो, did you know when they fly the rocket to the moon, 98% of the times it is off course. Did you know that? 98% of the times it is never flying to the moon. वो जो लोग बैठे हैं ना, वो उसको बार बार they are just bringing it back into direction. That is how I think not just children, all of us need course correction 98% of the times, right? तो फिर आप तो ठीक ही कर रहे हैं, right? Only now to do it consciously that this job is never going to end. The last point I want to highlight and make is health. Look, these kids know when they are stressed, what happens? Okay, तो मैं आपको एक बात बताती हूँ. I deal with the executives. What do they do when they are stressed out? What do they drink when they are stressed out? Let me ask it that way. Water? No, right? A lot of see, some are saying alcohol very bravely, others said tea. ये चाय किसने बोला? ये स्ट्रेस में कोई चाय नहीं पीता. हाँ, स्मोक एंड ड्रिंक. अभी ये तो आप सोचिए एडल्ट्स, और आजकल तो इतना डिफिकल्ट बना दिया वो आप सिगरेट पैकेट देख के मतलब वो सिनेमा थिएटर में थोड़ा देर से ही जाने का, बिकॉज द एडवर्टाइजमेंट दे डू इज नॉट फॉर नॉन स्मोकर्स, right? But वो देख के भी they smoke. But where is the greatest vulnerability is at this age. Hello? And I will tell you, the media, the movies, and the other things have made it so glamorous that they find attraction and solution to go toward it. There was this gentleman in my life, Dr. Niranjan Patel. I met him when I was 21 years old. Okay, ex-pharma guy. He used to work in the pharma companies, and he started a mission to do workshops on anti-nicotine and anti-alcohol. Okay, ये उनका मिशन था और मेरे पास 1900 स्टूडेंट्स थे. I had so many students. I met him one day. He was walking और मैं बैठी थी. I was waiting for the bus. The old man is walking and I can see a pole, electricity pole in front. Okay, अब वो चले जा रहे हैं into the pole. He banged into the pole. And when you're young, you will laugh on his face. Right? So I started to laugh. It was so funny. So he said, no, मेरे दिमाग में ना एक गाना चल रहा था. I always wanted to be a singer and I was trying to memorize it before I go home. So I said, why don't you record on the Walkman? अब तो आपने सुना नहीं होगा Walkman. आप Walkman पे क्यों नहीं record करते? Because I'm a solution-minded person. He said, I don't have a Walkman. I said, I have. I can loan it to you. Hello? So I gave him my Walkman. अब जब मैं लेने गई तो he was typing on the typewriter. Tick, 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 tick. So itna slow. Okay, I had a typewriter because I was a teacher. So he said, how fast do you type? So I said, very fast. So he said, can you type these notes for me? Anti-nicotine, anti-alcohol. This is my grandfather in a different avatar coming to me. Can you please type the notes for me? And I tell you, I'm typing the notes of anti-nicotine and anti-alcohol and I give it to him. And I said, I'm in a hurry. Where are you going? I'm going to town because I was doing a diploma in French. He said, oh, there's a library there. Can you bring me some research books? I got the man research books on anti-nicotine, anti-alcohol. And then he said, let's organize workshops for your students. I organized workshops for my students on anti-nicotine and anti-alcohol. I did not smoke. I did not drink. But I tell you, in doing his project, I learned why people smoke, why people drink. Then he said, Priya, let's extend this. Let's do surveys and interviews of people who are suffering. So I would go to families, all the students and us, we would do this survey. Jaake smokers, alcohol, drug addicts who are in hospitals, in rehab. I tell you, I saw such a cruel side of this glamorous thing called smoking and alcohol and drugs. And the entire batch of mine, none of us, I tell you, till date, jab bhi baat hoti hai na, they say we can never do it. We saw that. Nobody told me, nobody told those kids along with me, don't smoke, it's not good for you. Don't drink alcohol, it's not good for you. Don't do drugs. They involved us in the project. कि देख लो, project है, point मिलेंगे, पैसे मिलेंगे, चलो करते हैं. और वो देख के, today I tell you, I can recognize a drug addict and I know how to get him out of it. Hello? And I think that is the correct I would say वो ऐसे घुमा के जहाँ ट्रैफिक नहीं है वहाँ से ले लो गाड़ी, and that comes in an indirect way. You show them the reality, and if they can be involved in projects and surveys and things from this age. Did you know we started this with students and it became a raging fire with adults. वो घर जाके अपने father को बोलते थे, I know why you're drinking. You should attend this workshop. You know how many hundreds workshops we did with Lions Club, Rotaries Club, with adults. And who was telling the adults to go for it? The children. Come on. और जब बच्चा बोलेगा ना आप जाके अटेंड करके आओ, ना करो, वो कभी नहीं सुनेंगे. And now that is a tables turned place. That's the future we want. You know, that they bring stability and they bring power and they bring some degree of sanity. And I tell you, it's easy. Like I said, we are the last generation. You know, इसके बाद तो उनके हवाले, उनके हाथ में है दुनिया. और अगर हमें इतनी तकलीफ हो रही है ना कि ये दुनिया कहाँ जा रही है, तो सोच लो किसके हाथ में जा रही है. 30 years from now, they'll have chips in the brain. There'll be no mobile phone. आप क्या बोलेंगे? क्या बंद करो? Hello? There'll be driverless cars. You don't know where he's going or what is happening. I can't even imagine a world 30 years from now. But if they're confident, if they're emotionally stable, and if they are on the right path, they'll go to the moon and we'll be happy. They'll go to Mars inhabited, we'll be happy. Whatever talent, education, skills that you give with them, you'll know they are secure. ये ढूंढ लेगा अपना क्या बोलते हैं, बसेरा, right? But it has to be done without a position, without that authority, like my grandfather did. And I'll tell you, हम कितना time waste करते हैं बोल के मेरे ज़माने में ऐसा था, मेरे ज़माने में वैसा था. उनको कोई interest है नहीं. They are not interested least bit what you went through. Joke बनेगा वो. जाओ Instagram पे बताओ तो सही कहानी. Go next day. Instagram, it's a joke. Hello? Right? And I tell you through personal experience, what was my grandfather's history background? What he went through? क्या उनका ज़माना था? I have no clue. Amitabh Bachchan never told me his story. I don't know. I did not know about him. As in, I know he's an actor. But he also knew I'm a motivational speaker. ना उन्होंने पीछे की कहानी निकाली मेरी. कहाँ से आप? आपके father क्या करते हैं? How do you prepare? How did you get into motivational speaking? अच्छा, you worked at 13. I don't. टाइम अप हो गया ना, ऐसा होता है ना. चिट मिलेगी जैसे आपको मिली थी सर, हाँ, या तो चिट मिलेगी, चिट नहीं मिली तो माइक बंद. ओके, तो चलिए, आई अंडरस्टूड, माय टाइम इज अप. आई वाज ऑन द लास्ट पॉइंट एनी विच वेज. सो व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू टेल यू इज दैट they never told me their story. They never told me where they came from and how they are right. They shaped my story by listening to me, by encouraging me, by appreciating me, and by directing me and giving me power. It's so simple. और ये correct age है. The future is still shapeable. ये जो मैंने कहा ना कि ये change exponential तो हो गया है. It is definitely happening with or without your permission. This is, बाप रे मैंने कितना लिखा है. So this exponential growth is happening for sure. पर इसका direction क्या होगा? Whether this is really going to be of service or not, I would say, is in your hands. And that is my final point. You want to make an impact? You have to do it indirectly. You know, like I said, if you're sitting next to me, I will not say I'm a motivational speaker. I will tell you what will work for you. Okay, for Adi story, so many times I tell you, out of 100 times, at least 80 times when I'm talking to people or telling them a story from my books, they'll say, I want to call you for my team. You tell such good stories. And then I say, sir, I'm also a motivational speaker. Then the authority makes sense, but not in the beginning. Right? And so many times, I know I met the person and then I'll go on Instagram, I'll go on LinkedIn and I'll go everywhere and they have sent a follow request. And if that comes from them, then you're doing a good job. मैंने छोटी सी बात अपने बारे में बता दी. I did not mean to talk about myself, but I didn't know any other way that I can give you a little clue. And look, the journey is long. ओके आप ये सोचिए कि आज से फ्यूचर जो है 100 स्टेप्स है, मैंने आपको 3 बता दिए अपने अच्छे वाले. You've already covered about 50-70 steps, so you've already covered. I've added 3 more, and I know you know the journey ahead. So it was not my agenda to come and teach you ऐसा होना चाहिए, ये करना चाहिए. I just told you something that worked for me, because I've been a student, I've been a teacher, and now I'm working with both. And I'm working with their future where they will go and work also. तो मैं तीनों स्थानों में बैठी हुई हूँ. You know, जैसे एस्ट्रोलॉजी में बोलते हैं तीनों घर में मेरा वास है. Right? So I can see where they will come also. So I am just preempting and saying, if the CEO back in school had learned all of this, the problem would still be there, but different. Not one of confidence, not one of emotional stability, and not one of unnecessary distraction of addiction and distraction of whatever it is that they do, because that is their falling. So this was my little reminder to you. ऐसा पता हमें सब है, पर वो टाइमली अगर रिमाइंडर आ जाए ना तो अच्छी बात है. पानी सबको पीना चाहिए और पूरा भरा हुआ है टेबल पे, राइट? पर अगर एक बोल दिया जाए पी लीजिए, तो आई थिंक इट्स अ गुड रिमाइंडर. आई मस्ट से यू ऑल हैव बीन लिसनिंग टू मी like that and nobody fell asleep. It's a great compliment. So I want to ask you that, do you think little 1% do you think it was okay? Oh, to phir Mogambo khush hua. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Thank you. More power to you.
Wow, thank you so much, Priya. It was truly an invigorating session, and we really felt proud to have you here. Can you please give her a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? Priya Kumar, and you know where to contact her in case you require her services. Well, before we move ahead, I would like to remind that we are really running short on time. So we would like to quickly move on to our next agenda of the day. So it's time now to start with our very first panel discussion. As we've been discussing since morning that the times are changing drastically, and post the pandemic, it has changed exponentially. So there has been a major shift in the education system also. So our very first panel discussion is on the next gen career versus the traditional careers, a paradigm shift being brought by STEM education. Moderating this session, we have Mr. Shivakumar Murthy. He's a partner with Ernst & Young India, and he is in the education sector and skilled technology leader for the government and public sector, and has over 23 years of experience working with global clients in the technology and social sector space. Well, I would like to utilize the time since we are really running short on time. So I will quickly introduce our other speakers as well. And once our table and the setting is done on the stage, I would request them to kindly come on the stage. And our panelists for this discussion are Professor Geeta Gandhi Kington, President and Managing Director, City Montessori School Society. She holds the Chair of Education and International Development at the Institute of Education, University College London. She has a BSc Honours Economics degree from the London School of Economics and MSc and Doctorate in Philosophy from the University of Oxford. She's also serving as President of the Board of City Montessori Schools. Joining Geeta upon the stage, we will also be having Dr. Madhukar Varshne, Founder and Managing Director, NimbleQ, EduVenture Private Limited. Dr. Madhukar is impacting the lives of thousands of students by ensuring that they are ready for the future. He's a founder of NimbleQ, which offers programs to provide problem-solving and innovative mindsets to students from KG to the grade 10th. He holds a PhD in biomedical engineering and has lived in the USA for 17 years before starting NimbleQ. And joining them upon the stage, we would also have Mr. Subaraman B., Vice President, HCL Tech, who carries with him over 25 years of experience in global IT business. He's the Vice President of HCL Technologies, member of the CEO Club of HCL, and immediate past chairperson of CII Madurai Zone. He's done his MBA from Great Lakes Institute of Management. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and allow me to invite upon stage our moderator and panelists for this session. I'm not happy with the round of applause. It's like, okay, that is, no, I can't see the last rows clapping. Can we have a thunderous round of applause? It will pep you and energize you as well. Well, thank you so much, and I'll hand over to our moderator of the session. So, welcome.
Thank you and good morning. This is going to be a hard act to follow now. You have wonderful speeches and, of course, the motivational speech as well. But this is a very timely topic of STEM and next-gen careers. The Honorable Prime Minister himself has declared in this that this is India's decade, which means it would translate into education and skilling going towards technology. And there is no field that is not being touched by technology. And I have the honor and privilege of moderating this session with esteemed people on the panel. And we would start away with, maybe I will start with Subba, because he's coming from the industry to say, what are the careers that industry is looking at now?
Oh, thank you. A very good morning, one and all assembled here. The careers, I'll probably try and talk first about our industry and then give a bit of broad base. The industry I represent is IT services. So the kind of careers in the industry, especially the entry-level careers, do with, if you know about Amazon, for example, everybody's talking about Amazon, right? So imagine programming a system like an Amazon. And behind Amazon, have you ever understood if Amazon has gone down at all? It may not, right? Which means there are like thousands of machines service behind these. Somebody's got to be installing them, configuring them, designing them, managing them, maintaining them, and these are all IT careers, right? Likewise, if you imagine the world, we were talking about where the world is heading. With the advancement of technology, like for example 5G, they're like between 10 and 100 times the speed of data, and that means there's potential to perform multiple remote jobs the way you do it physically. So what are these, for example? Let's say today we're all used to seeing the electrical overhead cables going somewhere, and let's say one of those gets cut, needs to be attended to. There's a man, there's an electrical supervisor who climbs up the post to try and fix it. Imagine a world where there's a digital twin that climbs up the post to solve that problem. It's not a human being anymore. Imagine a world where we got a panel discussion, you never know, next time it's going to be digital twin of Shiva sitting there and moderating it. Somebody's got to create these digital twins. And who are they? Those are people like us. Those are companies like us which focus on creating such technologies of the future, right? That's where the world is really, really heading. And I can go on, probably in the interest of time.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I just thought I'll give you a few examples to where it's really heading.
No, thanks a lot. I think that's a good introduction to what kind of jobs we're going to get and maybe the impact on what students also are expected to now perform. In the morning, we had discussions about this government really setting up the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. So I'm going to ask Madhukar now, because he's working with children whom he's turning them into entrepreneurs. So we'd really love to hear from you. What is this transition, and is this the real future of careers now?
Thank you, Siva. See, what I believe, the future is changing very fast. Let me give you one example. And, tell me how many people know about it. 131-year-old Bugatti car, like premium car. It is owned by a person. What is the age? Can anybody guess? Any just random number? 25 I hear. From the back side, any number? 15, I think it's too young, right? It's 31, right? Imagine 131-year-old. Second thing, if you imagine Tata and Birla has a legacy of 124-year-old. Their market capitalization is equivalent to a startup, which is 14-year-old, right? All I'm saying is things are moving very fast. The success is coming down in terms of age, right? So in terms of future career, we need to also catch up, right? So what I believe is the only thing that will work. If I tell you right now, automobile industry is going up, tomorrow COVID happened, I don't know what will happen, right? So we can't predict the future. It is changing rapidly. Blockchain, 5 years ago, if I ask you, what is blockchain? You will say, it's a technology, we learn it and forget it. Now people are using it for authentication of the degree जब आप IT की job लेने जाते हैं, right? So things are moving very fast. So for me, the future of the job lies in critical thinking, problem solving. But before that, how to look for an opportunity is a bigger thing. Somebody thought of using blockchain for authentication of degree, right? So thinking about problem ki opportunity kaisa dhoonde is a prime most important thing that we can do right now with the students in the school rather than thinking about what career is going to blossom. That's my thought process on it.
Thank you very much. Maybe the next question to you, Geeta, is, we've heard Subha saying what is the future of jobs. Now, Madhukar has already mentioned about critical thinking and problem solving. I'm going to ask you, because you're coming from the education sector itself, hardcore, are the schools ready? And what should the schools do to prepare for what Subha and Madhukar have already warned us about?
Yeah, I think we can all agree that what schools are doing, first of all, let's acknowledge that what the previous, two predecessors have said. All of us know this, and one can cite more examples to illustrate how absolutely terrifyingly rapidly the world is changing. And, one instance I want to cite, which terrified me, was in, I think it was 8th September 2020, the Guardian newspaper of London had an opinion editorial that was written not by a human, but by a robot. And it's an 800-word article written entirely by artificial intelligence. So this dominance of human beings over this field of cognition is gone, my friends. And that was our advantage. That was the immense advantage that human beings had over machines historically. But now that dominance is under challenge, and soon it'll be overtaken. There is absolutely no doubt about that. So in such a world, what should be education? That's your question. And what should schools do? And what we are doing at the moment, by and large, the vast majority of schools, not just in India, but most places in the world, is cramming more information into children, imparting more information. We already have too much information. We have a massive amount of information. In fact, what we have is a lot of misinformation as well. We have a lot of irrelevancies and contradicting reports that are available. What we don't have is the ability to sort between fact and fiction, to discern fake news from truth. We don't have the ability to critically think and be able to see something from a variety of different perspectives. So we are just prey, our young people particularly, and those who just, we see that people commonly just believe reports on social media and act accordingly, and riots happen, and a whole range of other things happen. That's an example, that's an instance, that's a proof of the lack of a good education. So your question was, what do we need? What do schools need to do? And I think the answer lies in what Madhukar just said, namely that we, instead of feeding more information or giving predetermined skills, for example, how to know what chemicals are in a test tube, or how to speak a foreign language, I don't know, any language, or for example, how to do coding. These things will be done probably better by AI. Google Translate will be able to help you to speak in Chinese even if you don't know anything more than ni hao, as you well know Harari very graphically describes. AI can code better, computer coding it can do better. But what we can do in order to keep up with that, and in order to supersede that and to still remain relevant in a world of AI, is to develop in our students critical thinking skills and a whole range of other skills which are summed up by Michael Fullan, who's a well-known educational thinker and author. He calls them the 6 C's of education: critical thinking, creativity, communication, collaboration, character, and citizenship. I think that's what schools need to focus on.
Thank you so much, Geeta. So I'm going to ask the next question to Madhukar, because now we are seeing, and Madhukar, you're on the cusp of working with schools, working with students, encouraging students to be entrepreneurs themselves. And here we have now the august audience, of course, principals who are running schools. So if I were to ask you, what should these schools be doing? Because you're obviously filling in a gap which does not exist. So what is the changes that the schools, the teachers, the curriculum should have to bring or inculcate this habit of learning things for careers that are yet to come?
Few things. I know it is very difficult. See, we come for a past where we are taught, right? Knowledge is the key. So first thing is we need to fast forward this knowledge. Knowledge हर एक जगह exist कर रही है. Google पे आप type कर लो, क्या करोगे पढ़ाकर, right? So आप सबने सुना होगा. But also second thing is to set example for these kids. कि जो हम कह रहे हैं कि एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप की बड़ी बड़ी बातें कर रहे हैं, प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग की बड़ी बड़ी बातें कर रहे हैं, तो उसको प्रैक्टिकली पॉसिबल कैसे करें? To set you an example, I took up a challenge at Nimble Q. Class 8 student from a slum background have said, I'll just give you the end result, then we'll see the story. Have opened 3 startups, filed 3 patents, they are funded by the funded company, and going forward, I know class 8 student cannot work on this. It will be handed over to the final year students of MBA and Engineering College at IIT Kanpur as well. What a beautiful journey. If this is a reality, rather than I'm saying it as an imagination, I make it to work, it works. That's what Nimble Q has done at Navsajan School very recently. And to call upon public and to make it point to the government, I called Minister of Education to showcase, जहाँ पे कहते हैं ये गरीब बच्चे हैं, ये लोग पहले मैथ और ये कर लें, ये काफ़ी है, टिफिन ले जाएं, ये काफ़ी है, फ्री में वो ले जाएं, ये काफ़ी है. मैं कहा नहीं, you have to think about beyond that. So show them things are working rather than telling them. तो स्टूडेंट्स को प्रैक्टिकलिटी कि मैं ये कर पाया हूं, सेट फ्यू एग्जाम्पल, स्टार्ट द सीडिंग प्रोसेस, राइट? सो यू हैव टू लुक थिंग्स डिफरेंटली. एनईपी आ गया है, बड़ी बड़ी बातें चल रही है, दोज आर जस्ट गाइडलाइंस. आई थिंक एज ए एजुकेशनिस्ट, एज ए स्कूल, एज Nimble Q, एज अ प्राइवेट कंपनी, वी हैव टू मेक थिंग्स पॉसिबल and make connection. Trust me, people will trust you after this. If I go to SCL now after doing this, or Ernst & Young or the Minister of Education, say now it is believable. So I think fast forwarding the education system, learning mechanism, making them into the curiosity of asking question and proving them that this is doable by setting some examples in the school as a system and bringing the ecosystem for them to help and continue, because it has to scale, it has to sustain, is a key element in my opinion.
Thanks, Madhukar. So just a segue from there, and I'm going to ask Geeta before I go back to Supa again. He has mentioned what we need to do. Now, I think the question I would have if I was a principal, say, what am I supposed to do? What are my teachers supposed to do? So how do I upskill, if I may use the word used in the morning session, to ensure my teachers are now coming to the level where they can help and motivate the students? So what should they do?
That is the $1 million question, and that is one that I think everybody here is going to be grappling with. And obviously, the answer has to contain in it a really important element is going to be training of teachers. Mm-hmm. But training in what, right? So training in, thinking of the pedagogy in a different way. Now, one really important aspect of it is this. Teachers want the success of their students. Yep. So they're going to teach in the way in which they know will lead to success for the child. Now, one really important parameter of success commonly used is board examination results. Right. Okay, because that's the sort of the gateway to university, good universities, and that's the gateway to the next, to the career and so on. Therefore, it's really important that a child does well in the board exam. Now, the board exam is asking children, the whole education system, is steering the whole education system towards, acquisition of knowledge, okay, learning of facts. Rote memorization is rewarded with higher marks in the board exams. Unless the board exam is steering the country and the school system towards, it's rewarding with higher marks those children who can answer critical thinking questions, who can problem solve, who can apply the knowledge learnt in one context to a different context. Unless the board exam is going to be asking those questions, teachers will continue to teach in the rote learning way and continue to impart more information and seek to create more knowledge. So the parameter for success needs to change.
Okay.
And I think recently there's been this is going to be a bit controversial, but the CUET, the Centralized Universities Entrance Test, has suddenly in one fell swoop rendered all the exam boards irrelevant, at least for some of the top universities in the country. Their entrance there's zero weightage given to board exam result performance. So I obviously I'm not saying anything in favor of CUET in terms of its content. I really have very little idea how good its content is. Is it really problem solving based, application based questions and so on? But if it were, or if there is an exam, or if the board exam boards can create such exam, that is what we need, because I think that will be the greatest incentive for teachers to change their pedagogic practice in the classroom and to then invest. Because at the moment what we are telling the teachers to do is, look teachers, the world is changing and you need to teach skills. Don't just teach knowledge. Don't just impart information. But the board exam is not telling the teacher that. The board exam is asking the teachers to still teach, through the rote learning way. So we are giving the teacher conflicting messages. It's not fair. It's not fair even on the children. The world needs something else. We're preparing them for something else. They are conflicted. They want to prepare for the reality that they will face in the world. But the education system is badly letting them down. So I think that what we have done, I can tell you what we've done in our school, is to say, well, up to grade 8, we'll do our own thing. And, then we'll prepare children, hothouse them for the board exam if that's what is needed. But we've been trying to write to the exam boards and say, can you, not just now, for years, can you change? And, there's a whole politics of it as to why it is that the exam boards don't change their practice. It's not that they're unaware of these changes that we're talking about. They're not naive. But there's a lot of politics behind it. No one state exam board has the audacity, has the courage to do the real thing by their children and to actually give them the genuine marks that they deserve. They have to inflate the marks. They have to do this so-called obscene amount of what we call moderation. It's called moderation, but it isn't. It's whole-scale manipulation of marks to give everybody really high marks in the high 90s. And everybody knows that this is a fake thing that's happening. This is giving children the wrong signals about their ability. It is going to set them up for an emotional fall when they realize, when they do a professional exam for entrance to any decent course and they fail badly despite getting a 98% in the board exam. So we know that we are practicing deception on our children, and yet we do it. And it's because no state exam board can easily change their practice, because if they started to give genuine marks, their marks would appear to be so low compared to other exam boards. So it has to be everybody coming down together, all the exam boards coming down together, right? Deciding concertedly. Now they did do that. COBSE, the Council of Boards of Secondary Education in April 2018, they decided to do exactly this. But then there was a court case, some girl went to court in Delhi saying that, look, my university offer from some foreign university is based on the grades that I am predicted to get, but those grades have been predicted on the existing pattern of exams. If you change the pattern of exams this very year, then I will not be able to get the grades that I need in order to fulfill those criteria for admission, and I will not be able to go. So in view of her rights, the court decided that the exam boards cannot make the change this year itself. And then the momentum was lost, and we know there's a lot more to be said, but that's a kind of an opening salvo on this big issue.
Sure. So thanks. So I think I'm hoping now with NEP and the focus on competency-based education, things would improve, but it's a long journey, and I hope it happens. But I have a question for you, because you're coming from HCL, and I think I would be curious as a teacher in saying, if I were to introduce technology into my TLM, the teaching and learning methodologies, what would I do? What are the options that I have? And with the focus on STEM now, because we really want to see how girls especially really pick up STEM and they just don't fall off. The statistics is really good and bad. If you look at the World Bank report, it says we are much better in girls. 43% of girls really take up STEM, as opposed to developed nations, which are maximum 38. Fantastic news for India. But the flip side is, the girls who are continuing careers in STEM is extremely low in India. So it has two sides, since girls are getting into STEM education, but they're not converting that into careers. Now, my request to Subha is, what, and especially with schools and teachers, what can technology do to help the classroom transactions themselves in the area of STEM education?
Okay. Very, very pertinent and interesting question. But before I respond to this, I think we should try and understand a bit more broad-based as to what you see is going to be taking place in the world in the next 15 years, 20 years, please, right? Now, technology is all pervasive.
Right.
Across all industries, we've been talking about it. I gave a couple of examples in the first question that you asked. But I think there's a bit more that we got to understand. For example, now, with all elements of our day-to-day interactions and all walks of life being technologically driven, we're producing like zillions of gigabytes and terabytes of data. Now, all that has to be stored somewhere. It's got to be crunched. And there's a lot of intelligence that's being born out of it, which means the current technologies that exist are not sufficient and new technologies are being researched. There's something upcoming called quantum computing.
Yeah.
Now, quantum has a large base into quantum mechanics. Right? Why I'm leading to this is, as schools, it's very important for us to try and understand what's taking place in the technology landscape and align our teaching, of course, with the right regulators, the subjects that would be of value into the future, which will automatically lean us towards the technologies and enhancing value into the technology. So we probably have to introduce quantum mechanics right after kindergarten in very, very small baby steps types. Now, today, the other way to look at it is people are going after the so-called software technology, which is very good, very important, right? Now, software technology allows us to create zillions of opportunities in terms of use cases. We create new algorithms, new programs, new applications, what have you. Now, the creativity of children to be able to merge STEM and produce value output right at that age, for example, allowing them to do block leaf programming, right in grade 4, grade 5, grade 6, grade 7. Allowing them to be able to marry physics or chemistry and be able to produce molecular impact outputs that are required for the pharma industry, because innovation can happen any age. There's no age for innovation, right? So the way I think we have to relook at STEM education is not just teach these subjects in isolation, but we have to teach these subjects in conjunction with what's taking place in technology in the next 30 years. Like, for example, I was saying, right, with advancements of telcos into 5G and what have you, maybe 6G, 7G is going to come. Today, people like me are already visualizing, imagining that you probably can do surgeries remotely. You don't need a surgeon to be physically operating on a patient, right? You got machines which will do the bulk of the work, but being operated, the patient is here in Lucknow, but it's being operated by somebody in the UK or the US, right? Specialists. But technology is going to be enabling it, and that is the line of thinking or line of teaching that's required in STEM education, which is in line with what the newly imagined world is going to be like, right? So that's the second. Third is our pedagogy. Our pedagogy still is blackboards, got to smart boards and so on, but it's got to be a lot more experiential in nature. Now, I think we must get these children to learn through a lot of live projects where the use of technology right at a very young age is high. And it's in all industries. I'm not specifically saying in industry. It can be even pottery. Now there's technology in pottery as well.
Right.
You take textiles. There's technology in textiles. Now, how these spindles come together, how they work, I mean, if there's an error in a particular spindle, how do you go about detecting an error? Now, lead them to an industrial visit, teach them how cotton is turned into, so yarn and yarn to whatever all 9 yards, and there bring an aspect of technology. Talk to them. I think we talk to them about cleanliness. So with millions, zillions of data being generated, there is a possibility of spurious products. The world is already moving towards how do we make sure that whatever element takes place is clean. And that's where technologies like blockchain are coming in. It's happening in the world of skills, it's happening in the world of healthcare, in the world of pharmaceuticals, it's happening in the world of garments. Like, for example, I'm not sure if you know, if you are a sustainability well-wisher, you can choose to go into a store, click a particular QR code in the store on your garment and learn to trace where it originated and if it went through a clean path, and you can decide to purchase that product.
Yeah.
Now, technology, the STEM education in school should allow these children to nurture such concepts, right? Thereby teaching them the day-to-day walks of life and marry STEM into day-to-day walks of life. And that's where I would think these 3 dimensions.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we are running short of time, but we'd love to have your comments and Madhukar's also. I can see you taking notes, so would we love. Yeah, go ahead, Geeta.
Yeah, I mean, actually, it's a continuation of, because this really important thing about, okay, so we talk about why, but then how, right? How are we going to change it? So I think Subha just mentioned about experiential learning programs. That's one of the things I was going to say, that learning needs to be much more experiential in order for children to understand the matter a great deal better and to see its applications and to not treat individual subjects as different compartments. So integrated learning as well. Experiential learning projects, particularly those that integrate 3 or 4 different subjects, are particularly valuable. Then, metacognitive learning. Learning how to learn, or more reflective learners, creating more reflective learners, more metacognitive teachers, and more metacognitive learners. There are strategies, there are techniques, active learning strategies, rather than children being passive recipients of information that a teacher will stand there and impart. Choosing deliberately, a teacher choosing those strategies that are likely to engage the children much more. For example, group work, pair work, peer work. So arranging the classroom and the material that is going to be transacted in such a way that it leads to more peer-to-peer learning as well, more engagement. Then formative assessment, instead of just having summative assessment, kind of a half-yearly exam and an annual exam, or even just unit tests in between, every lesson, just getting some feedback to see how well children have understood so that you can reinforce the learning where you find that they're not. Then, more diagnostic report cards, a kind of sustainability education. Global citizenship education is something that has just been, our national education policy has emphasized it in 3 different places. And that really, connects to what you were saying, that letting children see, for example, when it comes to computing, what we are teaching to our children. We are teaching them, the textbooks typically say, okay, what is a mouse, what is a keyboard, what is a CPU, and learning the nuts and bolts of it. But what is needed much more is computational thinking. Getting children to engage with, for example, let's say train timetables and working out, what would be the shortest route. You have 3 routes possible, which one would be the shortest and why. So that kind of engagement, that kind of application of, rather than theoretical, concepts, seeing in the real world how they apply, and that sort of preparation for later, clarity of thinking, so that when they are coders, when they are, IT is permeating all aspects of life, they will be much better prepared for that. world. So these
Thank
are
you so
some
much. Yeah,
strategies.
so Madhuka, quick one because I already got the chit, which is now becoming popular in this
No,
room today.
very-
We definitely need to give some time for questions as well. So
Very quick. So the challenge for us, as Subha was mentioning, teach them the latest technology, right? Make them aware of it. Second thing, how to engage teachers. I think as at NimbleQ, I'm a researcher, so I always try to prove things and experiment. We have experimented. I can teach a blockchain to a class 6 student, and nobody will believe. यहाँ पर अगर कोई engineering या IT वाले भी हो, they will say blockchain में आप क्या पढ़ाओगे, right? 6 का बच्चा जब कोडिंग तक नहीं जानता है, वो एल्गोरिथम भी नहीं जानता है, तो उसको ब्लॉकचेन पढ़ाओगे कैसे? आज मैं पढ़ा दूंगा, और हमने कर चुके हैं, राइट? हम क्या करते हैं? टॉप डाउन अप्रोच. टेक अ टॉप डाउन अप्रोच. इफ यू टेक बॉटम अप अप्रोच, इट इज वेरी मेथोडोलॉजिकल. जो हम 50 साल से करके आए हैं वही करते रहेंगे, और यहां से सब लोग टैलेंट तैयार होकर यूएस जाएंगे, वहां पर सेटल हो जाएंगे, सीईओ बनकर आएंगे, क्रेडिट हम ले लेंगे, राइट? दैट्स नॉट द राइट थिंग. टॉप डाउन अप्रोच, एंगेजमेंट and maintaining interest is the foremost important thing. The way we can do it is little bit of things. You give them a project and make 5 changes over there. That's it. 300 lines of code. Ask them to change only 5 lines of code. Understand what is changing. Engagement, interest, then you can teach them anything. And it is also required for teachers to learn in that way also. Class 8 तक आपके पास slate clear है, कोई कंट्रोल नहीं करता है, तो हमको ब्लेम नहीं करना चाहिए ज़्यादा सीबीएसई या किसी बोर्ड पर. हमारे पास स्लेट खाली है, और दिस इज द मोस्ट फॉर्मेटिव ईयर. यूज टॉप डाउन अप्रोच, एंड आई कैन टीच IoT to class 2 student. Top down approach. So there is a scope, and we do it, and we have proven it. It works. Work on that.
Thanks, Madhu. I think this also very well goes with what Priya mentioned about nudging, how her grandfather did it, and what you mentioned, instead of being sage on the stage, be the guide by the side. So thank you very much. I would now like to open the floor to questions to our panelists regarding STEM, next-gen careers, what we should do in schools, etc.
We'll pass on the mic, yeah. And I would request you to kindly identify yourself before putting forward the question.
Hello. Yeah, good morning to all. This is Pradeep Singh. I am CSR professional and public policy professional. My two of the questions, one of the question to actually SCL professional. How we are actually practicing, or is there any different methodology where we can actually ask parents to actually guide daughters to come in for technology intervention and technology learning? First question. And secondly, really to the schools and to all of us, of course. Are we really ready to take up this entrepreneurship development courses in schools? Because I don't see that teachers are actually into this particular domain. So are we ready for this?
Sure, thank you. So I'll probably answer the second question first. If you would already know, we are probably the pioneers in making radical shifts to how work happens, right? We have already been experimenting, and that experiment is turning out to be a success, where we launched a program called Tech B, right? Where right after 12th standard, we get bright students to get them skilled in certain specific job areas that pertain to us, and we give them assured jobs, right? Now, we could probably look at ways to see how we can do internships as well during the school time. We have not experimented that, but it's a lovely thought which we will carry back. I'm sure some of my team members are also here. We will carry back to see what's possible. But radical shifts are what we are talking about, and penetration right at the school level to make that change. It's a possibility. The first question, I think you can collaborate with us directly through our business, where the children can help contribute to creative problem solving in the world. So we can probably organize like how we do hackathons and stuff like that for the advanced crowd. We could probably try and do at the school level. We have a program called HCL Jigsaw, right? Where we try and give real world problems to school children, and we allow them to come and solve. And these are problems that sometimes adopt technology, but sometimes do not have to adopt technology. That's the second dimension in which you could try and leverage school children, and especially girls, to participate and try and solve the world. Because our focus is solving world problems primarily through technology. So I think both are doable.
Thanks. Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
A few questions in the front. If you
Can you please pass on the mic in the front row on my left-hand side? So let the lady do the honors.
I'm Dr. Urvashi Sani, and from Study Hall Education Foundation. My question to you, Subbu, again, HCL Tech, is that we are partnering with HCL in helping pedagogical improvement in 20 schools in and around Lucknow. My question to you, and I'm surprised that given that you have all these advanced ideas about education and what it should be, why is HCL Tech not helping to impart these ideas at the government school level? These are all upper primary schools up to class 8. It's perfectly possible. So I would encourage you, one, my question, why not? And secondly, I would encourage you to look at our government schools as well. When you're talking about internships, when you're talking about imparting all of this great technology to schools and teachers. I'm surprised that HCL Technology or HCL hasn't reached out to those. We would welcome in our schools at all, in the schools that we are partnering
Sure.
with.
Thank you. Thanks for that thought. So it's like the tip of the iceberg, right? What you get to see is only what's visible to you. There's so much work that's being done. Before a mass, large-scale radical change can be done, there's several stakeholdering that needs to be performed, several organizational changes, mindset changes that need to be done. Our own teams are trying to make our attempt, make inroads, because there are the regulators, there are boards that are beyond UP, there are school-level consortiums, school-level management. So there are discussions and deliberations going on in adopting some of these. To do it outside of this is where we launched HCL Jigsaw a few years back, which is continuing to grow in size based on the number of participants and kinds of solutions that they're coming out with. But certainly that's one of our focus areas as a group, right? Where you would see that our founder has invested a lot of energy, right? Such programs are due to come. What has come to light to all of us is only what we know. There's work that's going on towards making changes radically in the education space. What will work, what will be successful, only time will tell, but the work is on.
We have time only for one last question, please.
I'd just like to add
I
to
don't
this. I'm
have
also
a
from
question,
HCL.
sorry.
So, but I'll just add to what you said, is that we have identified under our CSR initiative in Hardoi 25 schools, out of which about 12 of them are KGVBs. For class 6 to 8, I think Madhukar is aware of it because he's been guiding us how to go about implementing that. So under HCL Samudaya, which is a flagship project of HCL Foundation, we're already going to do that from, I think, end of this month in 25 government schools in Hardoi district. Yeah, I'm aware of that, ma'am. Study Hall Foundation is working, so we'll talk about it. But as far as government is concerned, yes, we are doing that.
Which is why I talked about the tip of the iceberg, right? There's so much that's coming. Some will come to light as time progresses. You will get to see.
So I'll just take 2 minutes.
Sure.
I'm Poonam Kochati from Seth Anandram Jaipuria School, Golf City. This is just in response to the gentleman who asked whether we are ready for things like internships at the school level. And I'd like to say that CBSE has introduced, given the offer for schools to take up skill subjects at class 11th and 12th level, which we've gone in for. I really don't know how many schools in Lucknow have done that. But believe me, internships have begun by children as young as those who are in 9th grade, 10th, 11th, 12th. I mean, the change has been remarkable by virtue of children who've gone in. So as content creators, photographers, YouTubers, you name it, they're all in diverse areas. So I think skill subjects is a very important way of getting children, starting off on the entrepreneurial journey as well as internships. That's one thing. The only grouses, I wish the gentleman who was here this morning from the ministry, CBSE still does not include the sixth subject at grade 12 level, which is the skill subject, as part of the result. I wish somebody would make a representation that this should be done, because they just take the core four subjects plus the fifth one. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have you turned me also off?
Well, yeah, please.
Thanks a lot, and I think we can see the kind of questions and topics that are there. This may actually warrant a separate session just on STEM and how we can use technology in schools. But unfortunately, that's all time we have. I think we're all available post this, and when we meet for lunch, I think we can definitely ask these questions. So thank you very much for being on the panel. Thank you very much for the audience and the questions. Speak to you soon. Thank you.
We would like to have a group photo, but before we do so, we would like to felicitate all our esteemed panelists for taking out their precious time and deliberating on the topic. We can have the group photographs. I request you to kindly step forward, please. Well, and I'll utilize this time since we're really running short on time. I would like to remind all of you that we have further panel discussion lined up for the day. But before we do so, we've been sitting here since morning, and I'm sure everybody needs a breather, everybody needs a refreshment break. So we have a 10 minutes break, and I am sure that since you all are educators, you will stick on to the time. And we are now taking a break of 10 minutes. In case you want to continue having your refreshments, you may kindly bring in the mug of tea or coffee inside so that we could utilize that time and start back on time. And post this tea break, we will be having a panel discussion, which will be, before the panel discussion, we would be having a presentation and interactive session by HCL in HCL's early career program. So hope to see all of you back soon. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Much deserved tea break.
Upahar, can you ask everyone to come in first?
Yeah, we'll just give it a minute. Let's have everyone in the room. Get started. So how have you been finding the session so far? I know means a little bit of overdose in terms of content to absorb, but yes, hello, hi, all right. So first of all, thank you so very much for being here today. My name is Vineet, and with me I have Sundar Raman. While typically, a session like this would be a presentation being run, but we are going to change that format. And probably, I was introduced as India's one and only musical motivational speaker, but I'm not carrying my guitar, so we'll have to do without it. But yeah, I'll try to bring in an element of music. Guitar nahi laye, awaaz to laye na. So are you game to sing something with me? We are not judging here. Abhi bataya tha na Priya Kumar ne. No judgment. So nobody is judging anyone. But I'll throw in an element of music and try to sing along. This is a poetry, not by me, but by my nephew. He's a graduate from IIT Mumbai. And the composition is also his. सिंपल सी 2 लाइनें मैं गाऊंगा, and then you sing along, and then I'll change and contextualize the meaning of what we are going to talk about. Sundar is looking with all this. ये तो part नहीं था, हमने discuss नहीं किया था, कर क्या रहे हो? All right, so here it goes. And this is all about Hindi, and since our earlier speakers also spoke in Hindi, so अगर किसी को नहीं समझ आएगा तो I'm sorry. But here is how the lyrics goes. जाने कब से अंग्रेजी भूत सवार है. सुना है? Okay. So this, as I said, this is by my nephew Kavish Seth, who is a graduate from IIT Mumbai. It's his original composition, and he has also patented a musical instrument in his name. After like many years in India, first musical instrument has been patented by somebody in India. And that's how the lyrics goes. जाने कब से अंग्रेजी भूत सवार है, हिंदी बोले तो बोले के गवार है. Would you want to sing along? Let's do that. La na 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 na. You can also clap. मैंने हाथ पकड़े हुए नहीं है. जाने कब से अंग्रेजी भूत सवार है, जाने कब से अंग्रेजी भूत सवार है, हिंदी बोले तो बोले के गवार है, हिंदी बोले तो बोले के गवार है. बताते जैसे जैसे कोई सुनार है, बताते ऐसे जैसे कोई सुनार है, काम आए तो भैया लुहार है, काम आए तो भैया लुहार है. Right? So now I'll contextualize this to what we are trying to do today, which is in the context of skilling. जाने कब से डिग्री का भूत सवार है, जाने कब से डिग्री का भूत सवार है, स्किलिंग कर लो भैया ये ना बेकार है, स्किलिंग कर लो भैया ये ना बेकार है. We all discuss this, that skilling is important. We come to forums like this to exchange ideas. घर जाके बोलते हैं बेटा study for IIT. You have to crack IIMs. No, nothing less than that. But thanks to the vision of our chairperson, Mr. Nader, this program got created way back in 2017, which is TechB HCL's early career program. And I think I have been fortunate enough, along with Subbaraman, Sundar, Vivek, and Prabhat, so many of our team members who have been working tirelessly on the ground to make this program a success. Not that it's not a great program, but one of the biggest challenges that we battle every day is, ये तो 12th के बाद कौन job करता है? Degree कर लो पहले. Not that, I'm saying degree is a poor cousin of our employed job. But the fact is that's the mindset that we have been battling. But just before we delve into, and I invite Sundar to be part of this discussion, I want to give you a statistics. More than 10,000 people have done this program, which started way back as a pilot project in 2017 with a batch of 100 students. Yes, and there are many case studies from Lucknow who have done this program and are now sitting somewhere in US or other parts of the world because they have risen to the occasion. Without further ado, I'll now dive into what this session is about, but just remember this at the back of your mind when you hear this program. जाने कब से अंग्रेजी भूत सवार है. Everything is important. Degrees are important too. But the fact is, seeing everything from the same lens is something that is going to be problematic, and we are not headed to a future that will be bright for our students. All right, so that was the initial bit of context. Moving straight away into the session with Sundar. So we are going to keep it interactive so that you don't have to necessarily glance through the presentation slides, but we'll quickly introduce and explain what this program is all about, and then if there are any questions, we would be happy to take those. All right, so Sundar, this program was started like a couple of years back. Is the mic working?
No, it's fine. The program started in the year 2017. We had restrictions. We were doing it only in certain locations like Madurai, Chennai,
Lucknow, Noida. So we started in that way so that candidates used to come to the centers for training. Right? 2019 we expanded it to probably Andhra, Telangana. 2020 when COVID was there, it was expanded pan-India. That is where when we saw that there are not many takers. 2020, 21 and 2022, we have somewhere around 8,500 to 9,000 enrolled.
Right. Tell us, like, since we have mostly school principals and teachers in the house, if somebody wants to aspire to join a program like this, what is the eligibility criteria?
See, the candidate should complete 12th during the current academic year or should have completed it during the previous academic year. So this year, if you talk about, so we are taking the candidates who are completed in 2022 and 2021. So they should have mathematics as a subject. They should have minimum 60% overall in 12th. And if it is, we have 2 or 3 different cohorts. If it is for an IT cohort, 60% in mathematics is required. If it is for the other cohort, the support cohort, pass in mathematics is fine. And there will be a round of aptitude test which they have to undergo. It will have 10 questions in mathematics, 10 in communicative verbal communication, 10 in logical reasoning, and there will be a small essay writing. They need to clear that. Then there will be a round of interview. This is basically to see whether the candidate he has ambition towards IT industry or not, whether he is trainable, moldable. We see that only based on that we select the candidate.
Sure. We just talked about, degreeon ki importance, right? And we understand that it's not something we can change overnight. So HCL Tech has also partnered with lot of eminent institutions to offer degree to these students who undergo Tech B program. Sundar, can you talk about these educational institutions?
Yeah. See, all these candidates have to undergo a training of 1 year. They have to clear all our assessments. From 13th month, they will become a full-time employee of HCL Technologies. Right? Once they become a full-time employee of HCL Technologies, they mandatorily has to enroll with the institutes, educational institute which we are affiliated with. We have affiliated with BITS Pilani, wherein they give BSc Computing and Design, which is a 4-year course. After that, they also can pursue MTech. With Shastra, we have BCA and MCA. With Amity University, we have BCA, BBA, and we have a BCom that is for a different cohort altogether. Right now, we have affiliated with IIM Nagpur as well, and few more KLN University of Andhra we have affiliated. Few more universities we are getting affiliated with soon.
Sure. I think we also recently signed up with IIM Nagpur.
Yeah, that's what. IIM Nagpur we have signed up.
Right.
It is an executive MBA 5-year sandwich course.
Right. So realizing that a class 12 student, while they have done 1-year program with us and are now working as a full-time employee, we also understand that they would want to graduate and post-graduate. So these partnerships with these institutions, and again, these partnerships which Sundar just talked about are in India. We have partnerships with Purdue Global and SNHU in Americas. We have partnership with Macquarie in Australia. So this has eventually, started off in Lucknow and Madurai as a pilot program. Now this program has become truly global with more than 10,000 students already being part of it. So it's no longer, something that you have to see whether it will work or not. It's already working for us. And our purpose of introducing this program to you today is that if you want our teams to come to your school and talk to your students about, this program and how they can benefit from it, there is a sign-up form on your tables. Please fill it up and our teams will be in touch with you to, take these discussions forward.
Steve, the main advantage of this program is, one is candidate gets skilled during 1 year. From the second year, they will also undergo their graduation. They will be 4 to 5 or 3 to 4 years ahead of their peers. If someone is completing their regular degree coming to us, HCL Technologies, again, there will be a salary bracket. By the time these guys, 3 years or 4 years, there will be almost double or even sometimes more than what the packages the engineering graduates get, it will be. So they will be 3 to 4 years ahead of their peers, and they will be the team leaders or something. And since we are catching them young, we train them, mold them to what the domains or the company's requirements are. So their career will be much faster and their growth will be much faster within the organization.
All right. So one or two questions which may be of interest more to you is like, how does one get selected for this program in case, yeah. How do people apply? How do they get selected?
So they can go into hcltechb.com and apply. Team will come to your schools. We can do a counseling to your schools, tell what the candidates they have to prepare. They go into hcltechb.com and apply. They have to undergo a aptitude test. We call it as a CAT. They have to undergo that. Then there will be a round of interview for them.
There are so many courses in the market. You might be wondering, like, what does it cost? How do students fund their education? Would you want to cover that?
Cost on the universities or no?
Cost of the TechB program and how?
The cost of this program is 1 lakh plus taxes, which is 1.18. Candidate can go in for a bank loan. If they need a laptop from the company, they need to pay 30,000 as a down payment. The balance they can go for a bank loan as well. See, there are, apart from that, for the higher education, company do part sponsorship. For example, can anyone tell me what will be the cost of BITS degree? If someone is going to BITS.
If anybody is doing a course from BITS Pilani, would you know what's the cost of a degree program? Anyone, any idea, rough guesses?
24 lakhs. Since we have affiliated with the BITS Pilani, it is only 2.42.
So there is a subsidized program available.
Apart from that, for the 2.42 also, we do subsidize part of the fees to the candidates. See, scholarship during the second 6 months, that is when they are into the internship, we give them 10,000 per month as a stipend. During first 6 months, they will be into the classroom training where there is no scholarship. Yes, communication. No, communication is mandatory.
Mood light kar raha tha, ma'am.
No, communication is mandatory. We will train them on communication. See, because these guys are going to
in
handle
global
the
roles,
global
you need
clients.
English. Yeah.
So they're going to handle global clients. So we need to prepare them for that, right? Any candidate coming into IT industry, communication is mandatory. So we train them on communications.
So, but English will not be a barrier.
It will not be a barrier while coming in, but they should be adaptable, moldable. They should have the communication thing. We are giving them training on that. 1 lakh plus. Yeah, 1 lakh plus taxes. Yes, they have to pay. They can go for bank loans as well. Right? Bank don't ask for any collaterals and all. Not from beginning, from 7th month. From 7th month during the internship period. We will give that for 6 months. Then they will become a full-time employee. They will start with a package of 1.7 to 2.2. Every year the salary will keep going up based on their performance. Nothing to say that, okay, this is a tech B we need to give. Based on the performance, it will keep increasing. There are people who have, after 3 to 4 years, there are people who have reached 8 lakhs, 9 lakhs. They will be IT engineers.
I think any questions from audience, like while we have covered mostly the aspects of the program, any other questions?
Job roles which we have. See, during the internship period itself, the HCL tech team, they mold them, guide them on the projects. They will be working very closely with the projects. They will be working on the live projects.
Mic to the audience. Mic to the audience. Got it, sure.
See, but the fees for the program is very less. And the bank is giving them, the EMI doesn't start till the 15th month, till they become a full-time employee. Right? There is a moratorium period of 15 months with the bank.
I think we have a question up there.
teaching university for students those who are enrolling with you. Because SCL has his own university in Greater Noida, Shivnadar University.
So students from Shivnadar University, even our other projects like, Vidya Gyan, Shivnadar School, they do join. So, but the fact is, I cannot have 100% absorption. People have their own career priorities. So we do take students whenever they show interest.
Okay.
Yeah. Any more questions? Otherwise, we are game to go to the next. Yeah, I think there is a question at the backside. Sundar, you want to take it?
See, they have shown you the job roles, right? See, they have to undergo 1 year of training with us. See, once they complete 12th standard, they will undergo a entrance exam, right? Once they clear that, we give them an offer letter. They come into us, they do a training, 6 months, 12 months. 6 months is the classroom training and 6 months is the on-the-job training. 10,000 during the second 6 months, during the internship period. 10,000 per month. So once they clear all those things, from the 13th month, they will start with a package of 1.7 to 2.2 lakhs. 2.2. Yeah, when they come into us, right? After that, it is mandatory that they also have to enroll for higher education, either with BITS Pilani, Shastra, Amity, IIM Nagpur, KL, all those, and few more universities will come.
Outside, if they don't see the career outside, if they want to remain with SCL, what is the career path? What is the future there is?
See, they can be with us for how many years they want to be. Everything depends on the performance.
Performance, correct.
The person sitting behind you, he is with HCL for 26 years. He started his career. Person sitting behind you, 26 years, he is with HCL. He started at the very basic level. Today, he is the vice president of the company. So that is the growth the person can have. Right? It depends on the performance.
Exactly, performance.
And person should keep getting new knowledges, because see, IT industry, the changes will happen every month, every 2 months. And all those new curriculum, everything will be put on the portal. They have to learn.
But sir, their basic qualification will remain the 12th.
No.
12th pass.
No, he is doing degree with all these universities.
You will be.
See, we don't want to keep.
So you will be giving the degree from another university.
Sir, if I may interject, you may take 101 later on, because we have to move.
Yes.
Sure. They will undergo their graduations. So they will become graduate. They will become postgraduate.
All right, I think we are good to move towards the next session. So thank you for your patient listening.
Thank you so much, Winnie. Thank you so much, Sundaraman, for doing this session. And it truly is a unique, one of its kind session, an eye-opener for me. I hope that I had this kind of learning. So on your way out, after the end of the entire session, you may kindly collect your certificate of participation, which is kept at the registration desk. You may kindly collect it on your way out after the end of our entire session. And now we have come towards our second panel discussion, which is on learning in a distracted world. How are schools battling the attention challenge? Truly a challenge it is, yes, definitely. To moderate this session, once again, we have Lieutenant CA Sanjeev Kaura, CEO with Teach India, whom we heard in the morning. And before I invite our panelists up on the stage, may I please invite our moderator to kindly come up on the stage. Please give him a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant CA Sanjeev Kaura. Joining him up on the stage, our esteemed panelists are, welcome on the stage. Joining him, our esteemed panelists on the stage are Dr. Urvashi Sahni, founder and chief executive, Study Hall Educational Foundation. She's a social entrepreneur, women rights activist, and educationist, and is also a leading expert in school governance, curriculum reform, and teacher training. She was awarded the Ashoka Fellowship in the year 2011 and has a master's and a PhD in education from the Graduate School of Education in UC Berkeley. Please welcome Dr. Urvashi Sahni up on the stage. Joining them upon the stage, we also have Dr. Sunita Gandhi, Director CIS and co-founder, Council for Global Education USA. She has a PhD in physics from Cambridge University, UK on merit-based scholarships. Dr. Sunita Gandhi is an educationist of the year 2014 and visionary of Uttar Pradesh 2017. She's a founder, Council for Global Education USA, Global Education and Training Institute. We also have S.K. Maheshwari, Deputy Commissioner, Navodaya Vidyalaya Samiti, Lucknow. As Deputy Commissioner, Navodaya Vidyalaya Samiti, he oversees schools in Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand, and he has done his B.Ed and MSc in mathematics. Last but definitely not the least, joining them upon the stage, we have Preeti Saxena, Assistant Commissioner, Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan, Lucknow. She has over 28 years of teaching experience, out of which 13 years as academic leader and administrator, principal and assistant commissioner. She is a recipient of KV's Regional Incentive Award for Principal Delhi Region, among other awards. She has done her BA Honours in English and MA in English Literature from St. Stephen's College. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we would now like to start with a panel discussion, and I hand over the floor to our moderator of the session. Sir, I hand over the floor to you now.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Thank you very much. I think I'm back, but we are wondering what we were chatting. I think a joke comes to mind. There were two Pathans fighting to get onto a train, and they said, "Pehle main," and train chali gayi. And साथ में तहजीब वाले लखनऊ के दो साथी कह रहे थे, पहले आप, फिर भी ट्रेन चली गई. And if you're wondering what is the significance here, so both of them were fighting, but not in a तहजीब वाली में वो था कि नहीं पहले आप, because I was saying कि इनसे शुरू करूँगा, नहीं वो मेरी senior हैं, तो I was saying इतना कृतज्ञ gratitude I was saying, मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा. So that's what I was distracted a little bit to also hint the session that is coming, and this is what happens when you get distracted. But thank you, and thank you very much once again. And to other two eminent panelists also. And without further ado, I think we have absorbed a lot. And what I heard, I hope it was not lies, but in the corridors and others that I happened to talk on tea break, most, at least all that I met, they said that they were liking it, enjoying it. And when I quizzed, why, you just can't say cool and good and get away. I said, why? And they gave reasons that, look, we have learned something new. We have been nudged to do things that we already knew, and many were saying that, look, why can't it go for a whole day? That's obviously beyond my domain and our domain, but I was just reporting to you that what I heard. So therefore, and there were also folks taking notes. When folks take notes, that's the highest compliment. It shows कि भाई यहाँ पे खाली मौसम और मोदी की बातें नहीं हो रही हैं WhatsApp में, but we are actually talking things for our development to serve our nation, rather than just any other. So therefore, I think without further ado, I would like to jump into straight into the session, and I would like to begin with I think most of you have this blue sheet, page number 2, and I think I would like to begin with some of the Insta learning or distracted learning questions. If you see the second bullet, distracted learning, access to internet, which has fueled learning, and so has it fueled distraction also? How are schools prepared for this? I would like Dr. Urvashi Sahni to take the floor, after which I shall be inviting Dr. Sunita Gandhi, who will be talking about accelerated learning for all. And then from the government perspective, very important will be the other two. Yes, you're smiling. Yes, ma'am, you're very important. And sir, कि पूरे 32 दांत नजर आ रहे हैं, अच्छा लग रहा है. He's all go on, से सीखेंगे, करेंगे, तो बहुत ही मजा. So over to you, Dr. Urvashi Sahni. And I think we can, only if you want some help, I can give you a nudge after 5 minutes. No problem. My point is also important. Pehle mera point. And my hua nahi hai. If I can have him left hand. ये ग्रीन साथी अगर देख रहे हैं तो आ जाइए। ये येलो में हरा है, मतलब नहीं, येलो इज मुझे, हाँ अब चल रहा है। मेरा इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट था, बिकॉज समय की सीमा रखते हुए हमने इतनी बातें की हैं, तो डिसिप्लिन इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। तो आप लोग, आप सब की इजाज़त से अगर आप चाहें तो 5 मिनट का नज, आप ऑलरेडी हाँ में यहाँ मिला रही हैं, तो बहुत ही मतलब सूक्ष्म तरीके से, अगर आप मेरी आंख में आंख मेरी मिल रही होगी आपसे, मतलब एक सूक्ष्म तरीके से मैं आप चारों को, मेरे सारे सीनियर साथी को मैं एक नज कर दूंगा 5 मिनट के बाद, जिससे कि जो इतना बेहतरीन खाना वेट कर रहा है उसको भी हम जस्टिस कर सकें। ओवर टू यू डॉक्टर आनी।
Is it audible? Yeah. All right. In terms of the distracted learning, distractions that are faced by our students due to internet, and which they were actually held hostage by during COVID, right? And they faced the full brunt of it at the time. So are they distracted? Yes, they are. You know, in the previous session, we heard a lot about how the world is rapidly changing and how the children need to be prepared, education needs to change, schools need to change, teachers need to change. Yes, they do. But I think importantly, we have to understand that children need to learn how to deal emotionally with that change as well. We didn't touch upon the kind of havoc it is playing with their emotions. Well, they're distracted. They're also feeling very insecure. They're also and COVID has added to that. And they're facing all kinds of issues because of the internet. And let me enumerate some of them. I think everyone will know, you're all parents here, many of you, and your teachers and educators, that social media has created it's created a storm, an emotional storm for children. This constant need for self-validation, this constant need to be in touch with everyone. Part of it might have been because they were so isolated at the time. And this constant trying to live a virtual life. So on the one hand, they were isolated physically and emotionally. On the other hand, they have this flourishing social life, virtual life on social media. And they're not able to handle it because it's new. And this is the age of it. So what do schools do? And how do we deal with that? How do we deal with the fact that the world is changing rapidly? The kinds of careers that we were all preparing our students for, those are vanishing, and new careers, we don't even know what they'll be like, right? So how do we deal with that? I think in the 21st century skill, social and emotional learning became a very key thing. Everywhere, globally, people are talking about it. Is it happening in schools? No, it isn't. Is it happening at home? No, it isn't. And that's a tragedy. So while we were talking about careers, with all due respect to the previous panel, I think we must also think about how students are being emotionally prepared for it. A lot of research tells us that for leadership, for executives, the one most important skill that students must have is emotional intelligence. We spoke about many skills, we didn't speak about life skills, which are really very important. So how do schools and educators, how do we deal with it, for example? I've been an educator for 37 years, and our school began with the premise of having a school that would take care of students emotionally as well. We were called a happy school, very pejoratively, by the way, oh, it's a happy school. And now everyone's talking about happiness curriculum. Well, you should have asked us many years ago. But the point is, so what do you do? One, I think we must cultivate emotional intelligence intentionally. I'll differ from Priya, not indirectly, but directly. Create the space to do that. Fortunately, the CBSE has rolled back and they're trying to lighten the curriculum. And there's an uproar about that because you're still thinking information. Hey, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity now to come in and do the emotional work that we need to do. Let's capitalize on the strengths that the internet provides, which is children can learn self-learning, and they've learned it during COVID. They have been figuring it out themselves, and there's plenty on the net for information. And what can we do in the class? We can focus on discussing it, on making education relevant to them. And this is not today, throughout. You only learn what makes sense to you, what is meaningful to you. What we have found, that when we engage them in hands-on projects, which they do together, they're fully engaged, they are not distracted. Two, when you consult them about what they would like to learn, they're fully engaged. Three, and our organization has a very heavy focus on, and which I missed in the earlier panel, was a focus on social and political consciousness as well. We focus on critical pedagogy, where they think about the social and political structures of their times, how those are changing, how those need to change, because while technology is taking over here, we are still stuck in patriarchal feudal mindsets. So democracy isn't keeping pace. And how will that happen? This is an opportunity in schools to focus on that too. And let me tell you, the moment you do that, you talk about caste, you talk about gender, you talk about class, the children, the classroom is vibrant. So we need to focus on critical pedagogy. And this is not new. Paulo Freire mentioned it in the 60s, right? As the only liberatory way of practicing education. So focus on social and emotional learning and train our teachers. First of all, you need to develop their social and emotional learning. Get parents on board so that they also understand the importance of that. You know, in terms of the kind of hysteria that is whipping up now. Oh, the world is changing, the careers are changing, they need this, they need this, they need this, more hysteria. Already they're hysterical. So you're adding to that. No, I think you need calming down. The world is changing, yes, and the children are being buffeted by that. So let's all calm down. Let's all learn resilience. Let's learn how to learn. Let's learn to become self-aware. So because of all this social media, what do? We create spaces in schools where we talk about what's going on. Why do you need so much self-validation? And what does that validation mean that you're driving yourself crazy about? So talk about it. Open these things and discuss these things. Make them self-aware about it. Secondly, with emotional learning, we all know that our feelings form a very important part of who we are. Yes, we need careers, but if you don't have the right emotions to deal with it, you'll fail, right? So to learn how to feel, literally how to feel, to learn about your feelings, to learn how to regulate them. What are the cornerstones of emotional intelligence? Self-awareness, self-regulation, social skills, empathy, right? And all these, do we spend enough time in our classrooms to do it? And we should. It is our responsibility as educators. And I will add, citizenship. We have a democracy, 75 years old. All over the world, we have not achieved full democracy. And why? Because we don't focus on developing the citizenship skills. And what are those? It means thinking critically about our social and political structures, learning to criticize them, to be self-critical, to be self-reflective, and then to have the sense of agency, to think that, yes, this is my world and I can transform it. So very importantly, our children should not just be passive. We should not just say, oh, the world is changing and you know, God, it's going to buffet you. No, the world is changing and guess what? You can also change it. So learn to roll with the punches and learn to give your own punches too, so that you can be ready to accept that change, to grow with that change. And if education and educators don't change with that change, everything is changed. But look at your classrooms, right? So those need to change as well. They need to change in structures. You need to have more distributed teaching and learning spaces. And you need parents to be brought on board regularly. And that should be one of the things that schools should make their core responsibility as well. I'll stop.
Thank you. No, I think wonderful. I think the words back to yes, I think in a very sattvic way, provocative words. And what I could think was that the words that came to my mind, she was saying back to basics, because none of this is new, but we have forgotten, lost our way. So Paul Freire, I mean, he mentioned from Latin America about this so many decades ago. Soon it will be a century ago. So thank you for telling us or nudging us that back to basics. How do you do accelerated learning for all, Dr. Sunita Gandhi?
Thank you, Moderator Sir, Lieutenant CA Sanjeev ji. It's absolutely a delight to be here with all these eminent presenters here, as well as the guests that are moving and shaking the education scene here in Lucknow and beyond. I'd just like to say that 5 minutes में भविष्य के बारे में बताना है, ठीक है, पूरे शिक्षा के भविष्य के बारे में, तो वो कैसे होगा? एक्चुअली ये जो 5 मिनट में हम कहने जा रहे हैं, ये हमने कई साल रिसर्च करके आपके सामने ला रहे हैं जिसका नाम है Accelerating Learning for All. Now we need to move away from the old paradigms. Now we can all agree with that. जैसे मैम ने भी कहा बहुत अच्छी तरह कि ये पुराने तरीके नहीं चलेंगे. सोशो इमोशनल वेलबींग बच्चों की देखनी है, बहुत सारी चीज़ें देखनी है, टीचर का भी देखना है कि वेलबींग उसको भी फील हो रही है. तो अगर हम पुराने टेलीफोन लाइन को फिक्स करते जाएंगे, कितना भी अच्छा बनाते जाएंगे, तो वो आज का मोबाइल फ़ोन नहीं बनेगा, अनफॉर्चुनेटली. तो हमें क्या सोचना है कि एक ट्रांसफॉर्मेटिव तरीके से सोचना है और बिल्कुल नए तरीके से ड्राइंग बोर्ड पे जाके एक नई शिक्षा को लिखना है. अगर देखा जाए आजकल के ज़माने में हम लोग क्या करते हैं, पहले था टीचर लेड टीचर सेंट्रिक. टीचर पढ़ा रही है, सब लोग बोर्ड पे ध्यान दें और सुने, और कोई शरारत नहीं करेगा, सब इधर ध्यान दें. दैट इज़ टीचर लेड टीचर सेंट्रिक. वी मूव फ्रॉम दैर टू टीचर लेड चाइल्ड सेंट्रिक. ऐसे जैसे आप लोग टेबल्स पे बैठे हैं और बच्चे ग्रुप में काम करेंगे, ठीक है, लेकिन कितने परसेंटेज काम करेंगे? किताबें उसके लिए डिज़ाइन नहीं हैं. हमारी किताबें अभी भी led by, made by the teachers for the old regime of teaching by the teacher and not by the children. I think what we need to move away from all of this to create what ma'am is talking about, Urvashi ji, is to have student-led teacher as a galvanizer model. Now, this takes a lot of guts to do because the parents, will go up in arms saying that where's the rigorous this and rigorous that. But actually, as we were discussing outside with Shivaji from KY, that it is about making every child excel. And if they are excelling, then you can get away with murder, right? No parent can say an ouch if your children are excelling in academics. Because that's what they want. They want lots of written work. They want lots of good marks. They want people to get into IITs. I agree with the presenters earlier that that's not always the best goal, and not for everyone. And there are better routes to get there with double the salaries and so on. We heard. So I think that we need to look at data. What is the year-on-year learning? अगर आप जॉन हैटी की रिसर्च मेटा एनालिसिस देखें जिसमें वर्ल्ड का बिगेस्ट मेटा एनालिसिस है, तो ईयर ऑन ईयर लर्निंग ही सेइंग इज माइनर. एंड आई डिड अ स्मॉल एक्सपेरिमेंट इन आइसलैंड. आई वाज रनिंग 2 schools of Iceland some time ago, and the experiment was to give a grade 7 test to the same children when they completed grade 8 in mathematics. And guess what the results were? A very small change. बहुत ही कम बदलाव आया. तो ये आप अपने क्लास में कर सकते हैं, देखिए आपको यही मिलेगा. ईयर ऑन ईयर चेंज बहुत ही कम है. तो ये जो शिक्षा प्रणाली है जिसमें आजकल बच्चे बहुत बोर्ड हैं, बिल्कुल नहीं एंजॉय करते, टीचर्स भी नहीं एंजॉय करते, वही रिदम, इमेजिन प्लेइंग द सेम रिदम ऑन द गिटार एवरी ईयर, एवरी सिंगल डे फॉर द रेस्ट ऑफ 14 years of your career in education. It's really, really a sad scene out there. Even when they make it teacher-led child-centric, it's a lot of effort for the teacher to make it child-centric because everything is not designed for it. So Accelerated Learning for All, which is the acronym for ALPHA, ALFA, is a dramatically different way of conducting education. So here what we do is we divide the class into pairs. And these are randomly selected pairs, not ability-based, deliberate grouping. So, and every day they change. The pairs change every day. And these kids are working on their own. The teacher's desk has been moved to the side. She's not in the front anymore. The teacher is a galvanizer. The teacher's not teaching. Teacher's just merely telling the children how you can learn by yourself. The materials are designed to be able to get those children that possibility that they can learn by themselves. So now I want to talk about results because we only have 5 minutes. I just want to say that this is working miracles in terms of results. We are finishing a whole year syllabus in half a year or less. In Shamli in Uttar Pradesh, where we're working with the government schools, we started with 10 schools by around the time of the 15th of August, Independence Day. And a month, rather 30 days later, 30 days of instruction later, we have grade 2 children who are reading their own textbooks. Grade 2 children are reading EVS book on their own and making questions for each other on EVS. Grade 2 children are doing mathematics 1 grade up. They're doing in thousands the numbers rather than in hundreds. They're expected in Nippon Bharat to go up to 999. They're working with 9999. So this is the result after 30 days of this very disruptive way of doing. How can it work in a government school when our schools, we'd be so shy of doing this? We say the government school teachers are, they're probably very well qualified, but they're not teaching because the macroclimate is not always right. They're busy with too many other things. We're seeing results. So you're welcome to go and check out on the site, of these results from the field. And as a result, we got 200 schools in Shamli after the 30-day results were there. And after that, we got now 15 districts of Uttar Pradesh. We're also working in Odisha and Maldives, in the Republic of Maldives. The entire country has taken up the program. We're working in Mizoram and other places. And it is spreading very fast, not because it is an incremental change, 10% improvement on the past, but because it's many times improvement and it's visible every day. The children should feel they're excelling, they're doing well. Every day the teacher should feel that my children are excelling. They all want their children to succeed. And all the homework is being corrected in the class, and all the classwork, all the tests. It is a totally different way of conducting life. So it's worthy to explore this very disruptive and very different, vastly different way of conducting education of the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sunita Gandhi. Yes, both the ladies have actually, decades of experience, and in a very succinct manner, संक्षिप्त में जो मूल बात है, कितने अच्छे सरल तरीके से बता दी है. Definitely करना बहुत मुश्किल है, and definitely lunch break में DIY सब भी आ गए हैं. उनके बाद जब lunch break होगा, हम सब आप लोगों को पूछेंगे over lunch. More questions, we will quiz you. But इस सत्र को अभी आगे बढ़ाते हैं, and Mr. Maheshwari ji will have the last word. अभी नहीं, you will have the last word. अब आपके तो, लेकिन मैं प्रीति सक्सेना जी से पूछूंगा कि you have आपका विशाल अनुभव है केंद्रीय विद्यालय संगठन में and even otherwise कि मतलब ये पेरेंट्स, टीचर्स, काउंसलर्स का क्या रोल होना चाहिए, क्योंकि देखिए हाँ क्या रोल होना चाहिए कि हाउ टू टैकल ऑल दिस, क्योंकि जमाना तो बदल गया है. So over to you.
Thank you. Is it working? Am I audible?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Now, it is said that the modern impediment to learning is attention and not access. And today I have been asked to share some thoughts on attention deficit among students and what role we as teachers, parents, and counselors can play in mitigating and managing this malady. Now, as soon as we think about or hear the word attention deficit, we think of ADHD. Now, that is a disorder which requires very professional and specialized interventions, and sometimes also medication. But today, I'll be limiting myself to talking about the general inattentiveness, the what you can say, the apathy that we see among students in the classrooms, the negligent attitude they have towards the schoolwork, and what we can do. Ma'am has already talked about how, the all-pervasive internet is playing havoc with everyone, and most importantly, with the children. I mean, this addiction has, caused a lot of problems. Apart from giving us the information, giving us the access to a lot of knowledge, it is also causing a lot of disruptions. And I feel this is one of the major distractors for our students in general. Internet addiction, social media addiction. Ma'am has already talked about it. Now, amongst other things which really affect or have an impact on the attention of our students is the information bombardment, information overload that our children are subjected to. I mean, at the click of a mouse, they have so much information available, and they wonder and they become puzzled and they are bewildered as to what is right and what is not. Another thing which could be causing a lot of problems relating to attention in classrooms is that different learning styles. Gardner spoke of multiple intelligences, and each child has a different way of learning. And if the teacher sticks to one particular style for a long period of time, the student may just zone off, because it may not match with the learning style of the child. Sometimes there are other factors at play. Sometimes, it is just the climatic conditions. Sometimes in some schools, even fatigue and hunger could be the cause of inattention amongst these students. And sometimes it is the emotional and psychological barriers they may be facing due to one reason or the other. So what can we do as teachers when we are aware that these could be the causes? As teachers, I would draw upon my experience in Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan and also refer to NEP 2020. And I will just speak of certain things that we are doing in our schools. First is something called a Statement of Teaching Philosophy, STP for short. This is a statement which every teacher is required to do. It is a reflective statement about the teacher's way of looking at education, teacher's way of, thinking what they want to achieve when they go to the classes. It is a statement about how they will achieve it, what transactional strategies they are going to employ to achieve that. So this reflective practices sets the tone for the classroom. Another thing which has already been referred to earlier also is experiential learning. I mean, if we go by the talk and chalk method, that no longer works with today's children. So experiential learning is the way to go. I mean, give them hands-on experience. I mean, we talk about plants, let us take them to the school garden. We talk about animals, if possible, take them to the zoo. Give them projects which involve them in learning by themselves. So experiential learning is something that we are doing, and we are doing it through two ways. One is through a toy-based pedagogy for the smaller classes. Children learn while playing with the toys, handling the toys, with sharing the toys, and also learning through them, all right? And another thing that we do is through what we call multidisciplinary projects. Now, no subject is taught in isolation. If it is taught, then we find that the attention of the child wanders. They start looking out of the window, they start daydreaming, they start doodling, etc. Now, if we relate it to the real life experiences, if we relate it to their immediate surroundings, it will make more sense to them. So these multidisciplinary projects, they are part of the assessment also, so that to give it a sanctity. Now, in this, a project is given to the student at the beginning of the year, and it has elements of all subjects. For example, I mean, you are aware, but just to reiterate that, suppose we take food. Now, mathematics thing could be, go to the market, buy a few things, jot down, calculate the cost of this thing, or calculate how many calories are there, and look at the food packets, calculate the calories. Or if it is a science subject, we could talk about how that food is grown. If it is a social science subject, we could talk about the climatic, conditions required. And if it is an English class, they could write something creative on food, So this way, this is one of the ways to engage the students in their learning. Another thing that we kind of do in the class is that not only the teachers, but students also are, asked to reflect. So we have a learner's diary as a part from class 3 onwards. So after the class is over, they are to introspect, think what they have learned today. What did they like about the class? What did they not understand? What would they like to learn more about this subject? So this cannot be copied from anybody else. It has to be your own. So this way they are engaged in the learning process. So these are some of the things, amongst others, that we do in Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan. Also, we engage keep the attention of the child by introducing PVEP, pre-vocational education. So here from class 6 to 8 it has been introduced. Right. I'll just conclude quickly. I'll just talk about the role of parents. Parents are required, or it will be better if you collaborate with your child, if you attend the parent-teachers meeting, if you engage attentively with your child in playing games, if you do not criticize your child in a negative way when in the parents-teachers meeting. And counselors, definitely they play a great role. They can help in early identification of any child facing these problems. They can train the parents, they can train the teachers, and set a roadmap for the school to follow. So I would just like to conclude by saying that attention is a great faculty, and education should be for transformation. So friends, let us work together, parents, teachers, and counselors, and create an environment where we can help the children to master this faculty of attention and transform their lives. Thank you so much for listening.
इतना भावुक हो गई थी, इतनी पैशन है कि वो समय भूल गई, but that's fine. We understand your passion, but and before I ask Maheshwari ji, and I know both the ladies first had been really so much on time. She wants a 60-second intervention because Dr. Sani has done very relevant work. So a minute, ma'am, and then I'll come to Maheshwari Saab.
I just wanted to add to everything that ma'am has said about, we work with KGBVs, ma'am, and we've done that earlier, and now we're working with them again. That one important thing that we have implemented there, and I think it's very important and relevant to what the previous moderator had asked. You know, girls do STEM. They're very good at that, and then it doesn't translate into careers. Also, many girls, they do very well in school, doesn't translate into good life outcomes. So what we teach implement a critical feminist pedagogy, and what we teach them, they must learn lessons of equality, that they are equal, that they have a right to their own lives, and that they can be the drivers of their own lives. And what that means is that there are critical dialogues where they talk about their lives. When we talked about experiential learning, they think about how they have experienced life themselves, questions of domestic violence, child marriage, all kinds of things come up. And then how to negotiate that very strong patriarchal terrain and how to forge ahead. So all of this won't work for girls unless we also teach them lessons of equality. Right, and those we do with all our students, and especially we work with students from very, very poor backgrounds in our organization, rural backgrounds, and we work with boys, teaching them lessons of equality, that how they need to change, and how we need to change the patriarchal structure, and then work with parents too to understand what girls' rights are, and how they should learn to value their girls for more than reproductive, sexual, and domestic labor. And how marriage is not the only outcome that we are looking for, but girls should be prepared to have flourishing lives of their own. And so those are really important things to teach as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We all know, जब तक कि सरकारी स्कूल नहीं बदलेगा, तो भारत का वो होगा नहीं. Not Bharat, it's in every country. And केंद्रीय विद्यालय हो गए, नवोदय विद्यालय, these are all एकदम high inspirational models for the whole world. लेकिन the trick is कि 80-90% of the schools must be like that. So, but anyway, तो महेश्वरी साहब, आप ये सारी चीज़ों को आप एकदम मुस्कुरा रहे हैं, आपका दशकों का अनुभव, काफ़ी कुछ बॉडी लैंग्वेज कह रहे हैं, मैं तो कह ही रहा था, मैं तो यही कह रहा हूँ कि पिछले 2-3 दशक कैसे निकल गए हैं. तो आप अपना अनुभव क्यों ना शेयर करें कि where you see all this distraction and sort of even concluding, maybe you're the last speaker, you have the last word. So over to you, Maheshwari Saab. आप अपना अनुभव शेयर करें.
Thank you, sir. Really, it is a very thought-provoking sessions, deliberations, and educational scenario has been completely changed, and you will see a wonder of change. I think within a span of 3 to 4 years, because if you go the past history of the education, the changes will come slowly. Now the speed of the change is very fast. In 2003, I was a national workshop, that is the Teach the Future. 2 days workshop. We go through the how 200 years back our education system. What is the 15 years, 50 years, 10 years, what will be next 10, 20 years. I am not believe at that time. The whole workshop was concluded with a mobile, with a jeans, and the related to education. Most of the educators doesn't believe at that time. This may happen. That is the marketing, so and so. Everybody says. But most of we are educators, we have seen this in COVID time possible. Now, they tell 10, 20 years, but times will not take so much in future. When we are discussing multidisciplinary approach, lot of information pupils are saying, you know, very Google is there. Now we have to teach what is to unlearn. It is foregone ki what is to learn. Now we have to tell the students, we have in our things what is to unlearn. How we keep inform our teachers, students to take their lessons, classes, to discuss about things, what they have the capacity to unlearn. Can you imagine my mathematics teacher is teaching mathematics in social science? Where is he? Can you imagine that mathematics teacher is teaching social science, Hindi, English? When we are seeing the integration of teaching, books are going to change. Teaching examination scenario is going to change. I am just listening. Then we are focusing on board exam, 98%, so percent. I think within 1 or 2 years the examination pattern will be changed. Every question, every student will get different set of papers. My first question is this: same evaluation pattern, the thousands of students will get different question, but the value system is the same. When we are thinking creative thinking, assessment, it will take lot of time, but things are going on in NEP. Whether we are ready for it, our school system is ready for it. So we have to plan in our school system. Multidisciplinary approach. Now when we are thinking the value system, whether we have any system to evaluate the value in our students, assessment system, project system, activity system, whether my activities are related to socially, they were seen in the society, where my activities, a student can see in society in is gully, you can say, where the pupil, mother, father. So whether we have this type of value system, so we have to evolve so many things. And education is the most challenging. But if the teachers, principals, we are the educators, if we think this thing, then we can change the scenario. So it is very highly thinking, you can say, but thing is very different. Counseling, mental health is a very big issue. Environment is very big issue. Pupils, newspapers, all are think that in next decades, mental health will be a big. 80% of Indian pupils need psychiatrists. Most of the, when I go through some researches, teachers, even parents, they need the psychiatric treatment, but they don't know. Just research, Can our society, when we are saying that the marking system, board examination system, we are not aware, but most of the student is saying, sir, what I can do? Everybody is asking, acha, so you have done 12th, what is your percentage? Can you know what is the impact of percentage? Students said, sir, I know my this 12 percentage is not useful for anywhere, no college is going to admission, and nothing is, I am not getting job, but this 12%, but my parents is asking, what is your percentage, teachers, society. So are we ready? Our society is ready to cope over this stress of the child. So that is a very challenging scenario, and we have to think and try to implement the things in different way, in a eye-opener way. Let us go for this one. Thank you.
बहुत को देखिए एकदम तालियां इन्होंने कितने गहरे सवाल और सॉल्यूशंस भी ये इंटरडिसिप्लिनरी मल्टीडिसिप्लिनरीज आर द स्कूल्स रेडी एटसेट्रा सो आने वाले दशकों में होगा एंड आई थिंक अगर मैं आपकी जगह हूं और मैं आपके साथ आई थिंक मैं तो ये टारगेट बनाऊंगा अगले आधे घंटे का या अगले 15 मिनट का कि जैसे ही DIO साहब अभी आएंगे मंच पे और वो बोलेंगे कि वी हैव अ ग्रेट रिसर्चर एंड ऑल्सो अ स्कूल हेड एंड सो मेनी स्कूल्स इन वर्ल्ड लेवल इन डॉक्टर सुनीता गांधी वी हैव हर सीनियर इन हर वर्ड्स and Dr. she's pointing it also, Dr. Sahani, as we saw. Kendriya Vidyalaya, which is so important, Preeti ji. Navodaya Vidyalaya, so important, Maheshwari Saab. I would definitely engage with each one of them. Take their numbers, be in dialogue, because 5-5 मिनट में आधे घंटे में तो दुनिया नहीं बदली जाती है ना, लेकिन फिर प्रैक्टिकल भी तो होना होता है ना. We don't want to be sounding like a utopian. So we would, I would do that, engage with them. They will all be joining us for lunch here. And then, hopefully in the next few years and जो decades, जो हमारे दायरे में जो एक कतरा मैं दे सकती हूँ, my drop in the ocean, उसको तो अच्छे से चमका दूँ ना मैं, जिससे कि अगर ऐसे 1000 कतरे, 1 लाख कतरे ऐसे होंगे तो naturally फिर बदलाव आता है. I'm not a shyer, otherwise I'm sure I would think of something, but I know you know the भाव आप लोग smile कर रहे हो, that's enough. अपने मन में आपको अपने favorite याद आ रहे होंगे. That is what I think we will move ahead. So thank you very much to all 4 of you, but I will not let you go like this without a small token of, अच्छी सुगंध of this satra. And I think I would like to give to each one of you. Again, I want to point out, it's so high level of gratitude, that's, thank you, ma'am. मेरी फोटो जो होती है, ये thank you, ma'am, so nice. I just come there. अच्छा पहले तो ये कहने मेरी मैडम नहीं तो ठीक है, देखिए वो मेरा जोक एकदम सही था, पहले आप वो ट्रेन चली जाएगी. अच्छा चलिए तो ओके. She also had one priority of today. She also. Ma'am, I think I'm a Fauji and हमारे etiquette में ladies first, so please, thank you, ma'am. Thank you once again, all 4 of you, and then.
Can you please have a group photograph also before we depart?
Group photo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you all step forward? May I request everybody? Yes, why not? They'll look lovely if you want. Well, if I may add, so also when I was tuned on to the discussion that was going on ahead, we have been discussing that accelerated education is being imparted and how we have to change with the changing times. As a student in my 4 past years and what I went through, I would like to share here that parents' nature firstly has to be changed. Only when the parents are adaptive to this new way of technology, only then the child can do the learning. Child is always open to learning. If that nahi beta aapko ye to karna hi padega, agar nahi karoge to aage naukri kaise milegi? Ye mindset parents ka badalna bahut zaruri hai. And on that note, I would like to thank all of our esteemed panelists and our moderator who conducted the session so beautifully. It has truly been an honor to have them here. And I would like to mention that, yes, we did have our District Inspector of Schools, Lucknow, Shri Rakesh Kumarji, who was present here with us just for a brief time. He had a sudden important meeting that came up at the last moment, so he has left. But nonetheless, we appreciate that he took out his precious time and he graced us on the occasion, but we missed listening on to his keynote address. Nonetheless, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this beautiful session. But before we do so, we would like to propose the vote of thanks, for which may I please invite up on stage Ms. Latika Sharma, AVP with Times of India. I request her to kindly propose the vote of thanks.
So I'm not going to keep you away from lunch for long. We've all had an extremely interesting, enriching, and learning experience this morning. And it's been such a delight for Times of India to host this. So I would definitely, on behalf of Times of India, like to thank HCL Tech. It wouldn't have been possible without them. So their association actually made it happen. So big round of applause for them. Also, I want to thank all our eminent panelists. I mean, amazing discussions, amazing learning, and a great, thoughts that we can take back home. And of course, principals, I mean, you guys took out time and made it here, and participation from you is precious, and thank you so much for coming. And all other educationists over here, thank you so much. It's been such a delight to have you over. So I'm not going to hold you. Lunch is just where you had tea. We are serving lunch right over there. So please do join us for lunch, and thank you once again.
Much, Ms. Latika. Well, before we depart for lunch, just a quick reminder. I do hope that you have gone through the form, that HCL Tech Early Career Program. Have you seen it on your desk? Can I see it? If you are interested, please do fill it up, and you can drop it at the registration desk. It's a very important transformative program that will really transform the lives of the budding students. And yes, we would request you to kindly give us your feedback also, valuable feedback. We would appreciate it as well. And please do remember to collect your certificate of participation outside, once again, from the registration desk. On that note, on behalf of the Times of India and HCL, I would like to thank all of you for taking your precious time out and being here. And yes, the lady out here has a... That came as a truly surprise. I thought, ma'am, you had a query, but thank you so much. Lucknow, it truly has been a delight for me to host this event. Thank you so much, and have a lovely day. Enjoy your lunch. Bon appetit.
ओके बोल दो सर थोड़ा लाउड बोलिएगा थोड़ा लाउड
सुरेश कुमार बजाओ
तो जोर से
दोबारा सेट
अरे रिकॉर्डिंग चल रही है बोलिए
यस माय सेल्फ सुरेश कुमार माहेश्वरी डिप्टी कमिश्नर
नहीं लाउड
अच्छा लाउड माय सेल्फ सुरेश कुमार माहेश्वरी डिप्टी कमिश्नर नवोदय विद्यालय समिति लखनऊ रीजन today the workshop of STEM education and challenges in the education was organized by Times of India and HCL Tech. It was a very fruitful, thought-provoking sessions were conducted, and in details it was discussed how we can meet out the challenges of the education in the country.
और एक और
it was also highlighted by the on the program of HCL Tech B, and it is very helpful to the youngsters to grow in the early age as well as the for their career progression.
Start.
Ashok Tiwari, Ayodhya se. I am representing St. Xavier's. I am working in the capacity of academic advisor there.
सर आपको ये प्रोग्राम आज का कॉन्फ्रेंस क्या
प्रोग्राम बहुत ही इन्फॉर्मेटिव रहा, बहुत ही जानकारी से भरा हुआ था। ढेर सारे ऐसे विषय जिन पे प्रिंसिपल्स या टीचर्स स्कूलों में सोचते रहते हैं कि उन चुनौतियों से कैसे निपटा जाए, स्कूल में कैसे उनका सामना किया जाए, उसके विषय में ढेर सारी जानकारी, ढेर सारे इनपुट्स मिले। और मुझे लगता है कि मेरे साथियों को जो यहाँ पे आए उनको आज के बाद अपने स्कूल में वापस जाएंगे कुछ नया करने के लिए ढेर सारी जानकारी लेकर के जा रहे हैं। और जहाँ तक एचसीएल टेक की बात है, मेरे लिए मैं सुना था इसके विषय में, लेकिन इतनी तफसील से एटलीस्ट विद दिस डिटेल आई डिड नॉट नो, बट व्हेन आई गो बैक टू माय स्कूल आई विल एडवाइज द मैनेजमेंट दैट वी कैन आल्सो call people and know more about the program, because just after class 12 giving this kind of opportunity with assurance for future and with permanent employment, with the scope to rise very high in the future career, it's exceptionally good. I would recommend it for other schools also.
Hello, my name is Professor V.K. Dwivedi. I am heading training and placement cell of Madan Mohan Malviya University of Technology, Gorakhpur. I am basically mechanical engineer and professor in Madan Mohan Malviya University, Gorakhpur. मुझे बहुत ही बेहतरीन प्रोग्राम लगा है, इसीलिए मैं यहाँ आया हूँ, क्योंकि मुझे लगता है कि जो पुअर स्टूडेंट्स हैं उनके लिए एक बहुत अच्छी ओपनिंग हो सकती है। इसमें जो गरीब बच्चे हैं उनको बिना किसी कास्ट के पढ़ाई कर सकते हैं। सो दिस प्रोग्राम इज़ हाईली यूजफुल फॉर स्टूडेंट्स ऑफ दोज हू बिलोंग फ्रॉम पुअर फैमिली एंड नॉट एबल टू डू स्टडीज बिकॉज ऑफ देयर पुअर कंडीशन।
मैं विवेक मिश्रा, मैं बेसिक स्कूल से हूँ, बाराबंकी प्राथमिक विद्यालय सिरकौली। सर इंटरेस्टिंग था एंड हम लोग को तो बहुत कुछ सीखने को मिलता है कि कैसे हम लोग और भी जाके अपने ज़िले में या अपने विद्यालयों में हम लोग कैसे काम करना चाहते हैं, और ये सब चीज़ें होती है ना। यहाँ पे आपके कई सारे स्पीकर हैं, लेकिन आई थिंक यहाँ पे और एक दो मोटिवेशनल स्पीकर होते ना तो और ज़्यादा यहाँ पे हम लोग अच्छा कर सकते थे। सर अच्छा था, जो सर ने बोला था कविता से लगा था कि सर कुछ इंटरेस्टिंग बोलेंगे, लेकिन फिर से वो अपने वही मेन पॉइंट पे आ गए। और आई थिंक इन चीज़ों के अलावा यदि कुछ रिटर्न में दिया जाता तो इससे हम लोग और भी चीज़ें उन लोग को बता सकते थे, क्योंकि जैसे कई चीज़ें होती हैं यहाँ पे हम लोग को जब बताया जाता है तो हम लोग सीखते हैं, हम लोग देखते हैं, लेकिन जब कोई हम लोग से पूछता है तो उसके बारे में यदि हम लोग को इसे रिटर्न में एक पेपर में या हम लोग को रैप अप करके दे दिया जाता तो आई थिंक उसको और हम लोग डिटेल में पढ़ते तो वो चीज़ और बेटर होता।
नमस्कार, मैं शैलेंद्र सिंह, बाराबंकी से प्राइवेट स्कूल एसोसिएशन का वाइस चेयरमैन। ये प्रोग्राम वास्तव में बहुत अच्छा था और जहाँ तक कि मैं समझता हूँ कि पूरे प्रदेश में इस तरीके के कार्यक्रम आयोजित होने चाहिए। और आज के परिवेश में एचसीएल का योगदान सभी देख रहे हैं और इस प्रकार के आयोजन से निश्चित रूप से +2 के बच्चों को काफ़ी सहायता मिलेगी। जो एचसीएल का जो प्रोग्राम है, मैं समझता हूँ कि ये फ्यूचर में बच्चों को काफ़ी इनकरेज करेगा और +2 के तुरंत बाद में एक जॉब मिलना एक बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज होता है और एचसीएल के इस प्रोग्राम में ये प्रोग्राम उसको सहायता देगी। ख़ासतौर से ग्रामीण क्षेत्र के बच्चों को इसमें ज़्यादा सहायता मिलेगी, जिनको वास्तव में कुछ ना कुछ अर्निंग की ज़रूरत होती है और ये प्रोग्राम बहुत अच्छा है। थैंक यू।
नमस्कार सर, मैं आमोद कुमार पांडे, प्रिंसिपल स्कूल ऑफ मैनेजमेंट साइंसेज लखनऊ। आज का जो प्रोग्राम था प्रिंसिपल कॉन्क्लेव, ये इसमें आज आके पता ये चला कि टेक भी जैसे प्रोग्राम जो एचसीएल कोऑर्डिनेट करती है स्कूलों के साथ में, कॉलेजों के साथ में, जो स्टूडेंट्स 12th के बाद जिनको लगता है कि हमारे पास चांस नहीं है, जब तक हम ग्रेजुएट ना हो या पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट ना हो तब तक हमारे पास ऐसी कंपनियों में जॉब करने के लिए या कैरियर की पॉसिबिलिटी बहुत कम है, उसके लिए एचसीएल टेक ने जो स्कीम निकाला है वो बहुत ही अच्छा है। आज का ये इवेंट प्रिंसिपल कॉन्क्लेव एचसीएल एंड टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया ने मिलकर जो किया, ये गवर्नमेंट उत्तर प्रदेश, बेसिकली गवर्नमेंट ऑफ सेकेंडरी एजुकेशन उत्तर प्रदेश के लिए बहुत ही मील का पत्थर साबित होगा। आने वाले समय में ये कोलैबोरेशन और अच्छा बढ़ेगा, स्टूडेंट्स को इससे बहुत सारी सुविधाएं मिलेंगी, उनको जॉब से रिलेटेड उनको नौकरियां मिलेंगी, ठीक है। ये सब चीज़ें जब होगा तो एक नया उत्तर प्रदेश बनने में इसको कोई रोक नहीं सकता। और जितने भी स्टूडेंट्स निकलेंगे 12th के बाद, उनमें से 60-70% हमारे मतलब कैरियर ओरिएंटेड स्टूडेंट्स रहेंगे। थैंक यू वेरी मच।